Good Wednesday, good Wednesday, good Wednesday. As y'all seen the thumbnail, if y'all didn't see it, I apologize. Let me show it again. It's a beautiful Wednesday, guys. Tomorrow's Juneteenth. We're going to celebrate as those last folks in Galveston and Texas was the last and the final people to be noticed that you Negroes are free. Shame on them folks for just now letting them brothers and sisters know in Texas that paperwork is signed and they are free Negroes. Well, we're going to celebrate come tomorrow on this federal holiday. With that being said, let's get to it. Guys, I've just seen the thumbnail. Kirk Franklin had a great show. Had a great show with some great individuals, you know, actors, comedians, / actors, performers, fathers, musicians, great men who do great things in their own right. Just this past Sunday, we celebrated Father's Day. So with that being said, why not rightfully continue the celebration of Father's Day? We know we only get one day a year that you men are celebrated. It is also June, which is Men Health Month. So me finding a way to give back in some form or fashion, I needed to react. I needed to react to this. And this is going to be a great reaction to such great a great show that they had over there. I really appreciate Kirk Franklin doing that. I really was greatly appreciative of hearing these men talk about the ups and downs, the adversity that they have to deal with, you know, and what they're talking about is real. I don't care how rich you think you are or poor, how famous you are or you're not so famous. These are things that real people have to deal with, especially fathers. Excuse me. I want to thank, I got two beautiful people, lovely ladies. And y'all notice I said ladies and not women, because there's a differentiate, at least in my opinion. I don't know how you guys feel, but in my opinion, there's a difference between a woman and a lady, right? I got two lovely ladies in my chat who's always finding a way to help your brother out, some way, some form, or some fashion. First ladies up is my lovely wife, Mrs. Hink here, whereas we talking about sports, and that's not her thing. That's not her ministry. That's okay. The support's always great, greatly appreciated. I can't wait to do my members only so I can show you guys. Released a video. It will display some of the birthday gifts and / Father Day gift that was bestowed on me thanks to my wife. So I want to thank her and her presence as being one of the greatest minds that I have. Last but not certainly not least, another great mind who stops in every once in a while. I know she's busy. She's a lovely mother. She's a great content creator. She does her thing on her channel. Shout out to Sister Red Lipstick Vibe. For those who don't know, that great and fine intro that you see on my sports show as well as on my Wednesday show. Yeah, my Wednesday show created by the lovely Time. Shout out to her for stopping through every once in a while when she has the time and she can find a moment in her busy day and a busy life to stop through and just say hey sometimes. Sometimes it's not like you got to do a lot. Stop through, hit that like button for the brother. You know what I'm saying? You goddamn right. She come through, put that like button, bless me, just say hello, put some purple hearts, and if she stays, she stays. But you know, people busy. I understand people got lives, and I don't mind if you catch me on the replay. But I appreciate her presence and what she's done for me and my channel So thank you. Thank you, Miss Ty. Thank you, Realistic Fire. I appreciate that. For those who are looking to get some work done, y'all make sure y'all tap in with the sister. She does great work. But without further ado, I want to get to this video. We got to react. There's things to be seen and things that need to be said. With that, I want to get to the video and show y'all some of the clips and my thoughts of some of the video. We may not make it through the whole video. I promise you, I'm going to try to. But, man, there's some things, man, there's certain spots in the video that I definitely want to talk about and it's going to spend a little bit more time than others. And that's okay. And if I don't get through the whole video, that's okay, too. Y'all definitely make sure y'all check it out. Definitely make sure y'all check it out. Why? Because it's very important. Because as father, we always know we're not always going to get our flowers when we really deserve them, when we're still present on this great earth. Sometimes we get our flowers after we moved on. You understand what I'm saying? After we done did our final circle around this great planet, when the good Lord finds it time to call us home. And maybe when I get our flowers. And if that's the case, so be it. With that, speaking of flowers, Sister Red Lipstick Vibe came through with the $2 super chat. She said, I want to bless you. No reason other than just I want to bless you. And with that blessing, she says, always much love. Hashtag day one. I know that's right. I know that's right. Let me get a quick water because I got something to say about this. Whew. Look like a good cold water. Quenches the thirst. Feel better after a good swig of cold water. But first, let me say this. Sister, you didn't have to. You chose to. And I appreciate the blessings. Thank you, my sister. I promise you, I appreciate the blessings. But with that being said, let me say this. For those who see the hashtag, it said day one. That's a fact. Been rocking with Miss Red Lipstick Vibe, and I say Ty, same person, y'all understand. For a while. She gave me the opportunity on her platform to not only to be there as a guest, got the opportunity to host. This young lady has the blessings to be a parent of a kid who's autistic. Now, I shared my story before of me having the opportunity of being a substitute. And me, in along the lines of 5 years doing it, I got the opportunity of having a couple of kids that was autistic in my class. Guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not easy. It's a challenge. So I couldn't imagine. See, them little few hours I dealt with is a small drop in the bucket of what a parent has to deal with 24/7. Because you with the kids I had, let me speak on that. You never know what you're gonna get. A lot of kids are like it. You never know what you're gonna get, but especially with autistic kids, one little thing could set them off, or change their move, or make them feel anxious, uneasy. Um, but then you never know. They come in with the biggest smile that's gonna make your day. They remind you, let you know nothing is that bad. Uh, Dealing with them kids, it also humbles you on a regular basis because of they're dealing with what they're dealing with, but at the same time, they still find a way to push on. The challenges that they go through doesn't matter. And we know kids can be cruel, right? Because kids don't understand. Some just downright just ornery and nasty. And they say some stupid shit, right? And so you had times that would some kids would give them a hard time. Let's keep it real. They was getting bullied. There's times them boys they fall back. And for some reason, these boys are strong as hell. I don't know where they get this goddamn Superman, Incredible Hulk type strength from, but they got it. And there was some times I had to pull them boys up off some kids because them boys was upset and they bite back. Now, the one I'm talking about, the other one was real timid. He wasn't volatile like that. Now he got upset, got mad, but he would never lash out like the other one did. The other one, man, you get on his bad side, boy, you in for a war. Let me say that you in for a goddamn war. But with that being said, again, it's a blessing because now you got to see the differentiate and how to handle certain things. You deal with that adversity. So imagine a kid dealing with that on a regular basis, as well as a parent dealing with it on a regular basis. It's a challenge. And Sister Ty, boy, shout out to you and those great parents who has kids with autism, who's autistic and able to handle things, to maneuver around things, and still be great parents that you are. Hey, challenges, blessings to you. Bless the Ty because she's always great, bringing great information on her channel. I hated when she went off for a while, but she came back stronger, better, challenging us to think, to see certain things. You know what I'm saying? She works with the Harrison family. Shout out to their collaboration that they do on a weekly basis. She's always seeing something. It be some of the ratchet crazy shit, but she always sees something. But shout out to her. And like she said, day one, man, yes, exactly. Had fun over, had fun over joining. I still make sure I tap in. You know, I still make sure I go over there and hit that like button, like you should do for everybody you subscribe to. Like I said, you don't have to stay long. If you just come over, stop by, hit the like button, do that for them. We all appreciate it. I promise you do. Some may not say it, and that's okay. Shame on them, some guns, for not telling how much they appreciate you. But deep down inside, they appreciate you, just like I do. So, guys, for every last one of you over here right now, I need for y'all to do me a solid. Put your goddamn like button. I appreciate that. Like she said, day one. Day one. Shout out to her. And with that being said, let's get it started. Let's get it started. I want to get started. Let's get to it. Let's go. So let me introduce these fellas. The first guy we have up there is Lou. He's a comedian, does shows, has his own stand-up, does a great job at it. Uh the other one is up there right there with the great shirt on, uh Devale Ellis. We usually see a show with him and his wife. They do a little show together. He's also on the Tyler Perry show. I think the show was called Sisters, and then he had a show he did kind of spin off of that with Zatima, and I forgot what the show was called. Kind of mixed between his character name and the woman named Zatima. Uh, the third guy right there that we see in the picture is Kountry Wayne. Got real famous doing YouTube videos, YouTube clips. My wife love his clips. Yeah, they all right. They have his moments, but for some reason, my always wife every time one comes out, she got to stop what she doing to watch it. I don't know. Another guy that you see on this in this clip, but they don't have it here, but it's on that thumbnail. And it's DC Young Fly, another a great comedian. He does a tour show with a group. They call themselves 85 South. And last but certainly not this, the OG of the group who's hosting this great event, and that is Kirk Franklin. Y'all remember Kirk Franklin? Y'all used to stomp whenever y'all heard the song. TP, are you with me? Yes, her name is Zatima. I'm just saying that's what the name is. Show was a little extra. Kind of reminds me of a Tubi movie, but we're not gonna go be hard on the man that created it. But we are Tyler Perry. We're gonna let him live, even though he's got some controversy and craziness going on in his goddamn self. But we're gonna keep it moving. Let's get to it. Right now, these introducing the fellas. They about to have this great conversation, and we're gonna watch it. We're gonna comment on it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna react to it. Let's go.
Season. Reason for the season is the vegans.
So, man, I got one first question I want to ask y'all as we get down. I want to know, what is the biggest myth that society has about black fathers that we're sick and tired of, that you want to address and be able to let know that it is the biggest myth ever about black fathers?
That we ain't there.
I'm just gonna say that we deadbeats.
No, we might not be there. We be across the street, grandma's house somewhere. Like,
We down the street.
might not be in the house.
Fact of the matter is, studies show that black fathers are the most present in their kids' lives.
Really?
Yo, talk, man.
Amongst all demographics.
Wow.
On top of that, single fathers have a higher graduation rate and lower incarceration rate than single moms and dual family households combined. That is a fact.
They ain't gonna like that.
So if you were raised in a house, so you know.
So then, with those stats really being relevant now, where is this myth still continuing to come from, you think?
Narratives. Yeah. Think about it, right? We all watch TV. Right. Everything that we consume comes from either through a phone, TV, or film, right? Unfortunately. There are people who have agendas, right? And part of that agenda is creating a separation between men and women in our communities. It's always been that way. It is a fact. We can't act like it's not the case. It is the case. The easiest way to disturb the distribution of black wealth from generation to generation is to eliminate the nuclear family. How do you eliminate the nuclear?
They're trying to get me hemmed up, and we're not gonna do that. Now, my little channel, I like my channel. With that being said, we're gonna kind of forward it through a little bit. Let's go.
Hey, you're gonna walk and float. So I think people who don't have that, they speak louder and they take that. It's like some of the things more popular in the culture ain't that lucrative. And some of the things that, the opposite. So I think that's what it is. I think it gets out there because that's the loudest thing.
Do you ever have something that you have to reshape even in the thinking of your kids when it comes to a father? Like, does it frustrate you sometimes when it may come across like you don't put in the same amount of work as maybe like their mom or like their grandparents? Like, do you feel like sometimes you have to defend your position?
I think with parenthood it comes with, it's a learning experience. Nobody really have all the answers.
Facts.
And even we all fathers, and everybody can take note to this. We'll learn from each other when we see something do. When we see one do with a child, you like, I'm gonna try that with my child.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know what? I be on my phone too much. I like how you interact with your child.
Absolutely.
Let me put my phone down. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, we have to look for things that can make us better fathers instead of looking at the narratives that's put out there, because we don't really know. We're trying to do something more that we didn't have when we was coming up.
Yeah. Yes.
And my father wasn't a bad father. Nobody has the real definition of what true love or what true fatherhood is. So if that was his love language, I'm gonna sit here and say he did that well. Mm-hmm. No matter if I looked at the other person, I'm like, dang, well, I wish my daddy did that. Hey, but your daddy is doing this.
So your dad was there?
Yes, my daddy was there.
Was your dad there?
My father was there.
Was your dad there?
My dad was there, so his father wasn't there for him, but he was there for me and my siblings. So he made up.
Grandfather.
Like, where's there though? Somebody at my house? I'm trying to figure out.
I mean,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I know what you mean.
Tell me what.
Right.
Tell me what it was for you. When I say, was your dad there? How does that register for you?
I think I knew he was at it all times, well, a lot of times, and he used to go. We spend time with each other sometimes. So to me, he was there. But I feel like some people, daddy who there, and still ain't there like somebody who ain't there, because if you're not there here, like my family partied all the time. So even when they was there,
he wasn't present.
They never was there, but he was there when he was there. If that make any sense?
No,
I understand.
I understand. What Wayne's saying.
Come sit down. Come sit down.
I will say this though,
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm gonna get some of this rice first.
Nobody's gonna be the perfect father. Nobody's gonna be the perfect parent. Nobody's gonna be the better parent. Like even when in the household, like all that, who you love more?
Let me say this, because I thought that was a great question by Kirk. As far as being present, that's very important. That's very important. So part of being there is making sure you are active with your kids and not just showing up every day, sitting on your big chair in the living room, watching the news, watching sports, drinking your beers, doing other things besides actually engaging and having activities or some type of interaction with the kids, right? Fortunate enough, I had 2 kids and they was 10 years apart. So I had some time to spend with my daughter when she was around and she was young in my life, especially when I had custody of her for like 5 years. Those were some critical moments that I had with my daughter then, and making sure I spend time with her. And those and it doesn't take a lot. It don't take a lot of time. It could be 30 minutes, an hour. Man, that means a lot to a child. So fortunate for my job, I was able to get off in time before she had to be picked up. And so when I got off, I was able to go pick up my daughter. And that time from me getting her from school on the bus line with the car rider / walker line till I get to the house was meant a lot, right? That gave us time to have one-on-one, right? That gave us time to have one-on-one to talk about how her day was, how's school going, what homework that she has. Does she need any help? If she does need help, let me know. If she don't, and she could just do it herself, I'll let her go. You know what I'm saying? We can have that conversation then. No distraction, no TVs, no cell phones. It's just me and her having a conversation without no other individual interfering. Just me and her having that conversation. And we just talk. What's happening? What's going on? What's the day been like? What's the plan? Okay. What's on the agenda tomorrow? What we got to do when we get home? What did you learn? That was one of the questions I always ask the kids. What did you learn today? I ain't learned nothing. Oh, well, that's not an answer I'm willing to accept. That's not an answer that's going to be good enough for me. You got to come better than nothing. No, we learned something. And if you're not, then I need to go have a conversation with the teachers. Why is my daughter saying she didn't learn it? What's the problem? So then I'll make her go into detail. Now there was a class she was struggling. How's this class going? So now I get the class I know she's struggling in. The grade little questionables. I make sure I focus in. I horn in on those because we need to talk about those more. What are we doing? If you need help, let me know. Because the way it looks like, everybody starts off with an A. It's your job to maintain it. Not the teacher's job, not your friend's job, you. So with that being said, let's talk about it. Look like you're struggling. Let's see if we could talk. First things first, maybe give some extra credit to get this grade up. Let's see if we could talk about getting you some tutoring. And so you do what you got to do. Oh, they got after school tutoring, so be it. You stay after school, get this tutoring. We'll go from there. And so those are things that we had to do. As a father, those are the things you have to do, and make sure you spend that quality time with them. Like I said, that individual time means a lot. So, like I said, fortunate enough, there was a 10-year gap between my daughter and my son. So his time was different when he was younger. So by the time my son started going to school, my daughter was a teenager. She's going into her sophomore year in high school when he's about to start going to school. So now she's feeling like I'm a grown woman now. She's independent. So her sophomore year is when she eventually moved back to California with her mother to finish out high school. I wasn't a big fan of the public schools in my state. Well, I mean, not saying my state, my city. And so I wanted her the better opportunity to get out there in California. So she ended up moving back the summer of her sophomore year, going into a sophomore year, back with her mother. But that didn't stop me from, making sure I was involved. That didn't stop me to making sure I have my interaction with her. I will make sure I give her a call. We talk on the phone, see how things are going, see what's happening. What's the day like? We talked about her possibly getting a job, working. One of the things we always make sure we did during school, they didn't have jobs. My daughter didn't have a job until her senior year, when, pretty much I know she can manage her time, having a job and schoolwork. My son, he didn't really have a job. I mean, he had one that he did, but his job was sweeping up the barber shop. That was on Fridays and Saturdays. And of course, doing his chores. So I didn't want that to be a distraction for my kids. You know what I'm saying? Something where they can't stay focused. My son had a lot of extracurricular activity where my daughter didn't. But even if that was the case, I still want her to be locked in. And so senior, allow her to raise her money. She wanted to do certain things because, we put certain restrictions, like your prom dress, we're going to pay for the basic prom dress. We're not going to go to this extravagant dress. Now, if you want that, you know what you can do. We'll get you that job, save you money, and raise it. What we end up doing, we match it. Now, fortunate for us, she didn't go to the extreme with the prom dress. It was probably about probably a few $100 more than what we budgeted for, but we worked with her. You know what I'm saying? Had a party for graduation. I made sure I flew out there. I was out there the whole week. I told her, as long as I got breath in my body, I will be there. Just give me the time and date, I will be there. So during that period, I stayed out there the whole week. I stayed in Ontario, California, which is trash. But it was about an hour away from where she went to school and where her mother and her stepfather lived at. But every day I was in town, dealing with that California, Los Angeles traffic. Well, not really Los Angeles. I didn't really have to go there. But the California traffic. And they were doing a water shortage. So for some reason, we can't use a lot of water. I didn't understand that. So they had so if you want to take a shower during the lunchtime hour, they wouldn't allow you to. All of a sudden, the for some reason, I don't know why this situation. The power of the water, the force of the water was like low during that time. I mean, one time I had to go to the YMCA to take a shower because the water pressure was so goddamn low. I said, man, I might as well just pour a cup of water on my back. Now, for some reason, the YMCA got to use all the power of the water they wanted to. So if I woke up late after a certain time, that shower was drizzle. What type of shit is this? But that's what it was. But didn't let that stop me. Didn't let that deter me. I did what I had to do. In fact, it's funny because one of the graduation parties that we went to, he had a sprinkler out there. He said, somebody said, man, you know you ain't supposed to be using all that in water. He said, I pay my water bill. I don't give a fuck what they tell me. They can't tell me how much water to use. I said, I know that's right, dog. Use all the water in the city. With that being said, B Smooth said it right. Investing in your kids' education is very important, especially for a tutor. That's a fact. So guys, you got to do what you got to do as far as a parent. And as a father, you got to make sure you really involved. Because, you know, like I said, the stigma that they said we're not involved, we're not there, we're deadbeats. I hate that. And that's not true. But is there some people out there that fits this? Yes, it is. Doesn't mean we're all like that. With that being said, let's keep going. Let's go.
That out. Because now you're training the child.
Social media.
Right.
Stuff.
You training the child to say, now I can pick and choose who I want to be with more. Or if this person don't allow me to do something, I'm going to go to a father. I'm going to go to mommy.
But that manipulation, though. Like when you got two separate households.
Right.
I grew up in two separate households. Now I'm raising a child in two separate households.
Yeah, how do you deal with that?
So I know what you're doing. So I got to like put myself in my daughter's shoes.
Right.
She only 8, so she gonna try it. I'm not gonna get upset at her for trying it. You're gonna try it, and you're gonna bump your head. I'm gonna put a little ice on there, and I'm gonna tell you why this not gonna work.
Right.
And then I'm gonna show you what can work.
Right.
You ain't gotta manipulate me versus your mom or your mom versus me. That's to get what you need.
That's the part. I was a manipulative child.
You see what I'm saying?
So I'm talking about, I used to get in trouble. My uncle Chunk had died. And to get out of trouble, they said, like, what's wrong with you acting out like my uncle? I miss him. So I know how children play them games too. So it's like, you know.
And then that's when you whoop them.
Oh, I ain't want to say this on camera, but.
I mean, we grown. That's what's wrong with discipline.
At a young age, my children, they listen to me. And I got 10 of them.
See, but
Hold on,
see,
wait, up. You got how many kids?
Down by
man
the
still
down by the
manipulating.
riverside.
That's what's going on. He's populating and manipulating.
I was down.
You have how many kids?
I got 10. So.
You and your girl got 10 kids?
Me and my girl. Come on, Kirk. Down by the riverside.
What that mean?
Yeah.
Nah. My dad had a lot of kids. I got a lot of kids. So I had 7 kids by the time I was 22. And what happened?
Well, you don't miss, my boy, 22.
But I'm asking though, so you and your girl decided to have a lot of kids?
Girl. No, I got a lot of baby mamas.
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
The queen of the children, because they don't like when I say it.
Facts.
Okay.
Yeah, I stopped saying baby mama.
You gotta say queen of the children. I say queen of the children.
Now, was this by choice? Like, did you do you have non-traditional relationships with these women?
Oh yeah, most of them stay close around me. One of the mothers of my kids, she stay in Kansas City, but most of them they stay right around my house. So it's like they got keys to my house. You know,
All 7 got keys to your house.
Like
I only got 5 baby mamas.
And all 5 of them have keys to the house.
2 of them, because they got the most kids. It's 3 and 3. And they can't stay with me.
Even the star.
Okay.
Hold on now.
Okay.
How does
I'm
that
with
work?
Kirk.
Huh?
How does that work? No, all seriousness. If separate baby mamas
Right.
got the key,
I'm gonna just eat.
like I got a key lock on my door, right? A combination code. I know who got the code, and I still get paranoid. If I had multiple baby mamas, but the spirit of the house is intact though.
Oh, this is a beautiful spirit.
Yeah.
That's why. Okay.
He probably tell you why watch.
Cause the kids are there, so I can't take everybody to school. So their mom got open access. She might come watch one of my kids. She might come watch Zarya clothes because she let her clothes pile up. So it's basically like a community, and it was a
family structure.
It could have been an ugly situation, but I feel like
How'd you make it beautiful?
Jesus.
Honesty.
It was really Jesus. I tell everybody, no matter what situation you in, we all gonna put ourselves in a mess.
Right.
I'm just straightforward about my mess. You know, and my sins turn into wins. Because
Hold on. Let's let that marinate. That's good right there. It's because as humans, sometimes we really do try to quantify sins. You know what I'm saying? We try to make one sin this, another sin that, but the truth is, I love how you said that because Like we're all sinners.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And need a grace every day.
For sure.
Brother, if you knew my sins, you know what I mean? It's like I don't ever want anyone to think that because you do something for a living that you just all right. It's like, bruh, you know, there is a need for God's grace on my life, just like need of your life every day. So your level of transparency and vulnerability is very impressive as a black man.
Cause it sent me to child support to make you go find them. So.
Courtroom. Like being in that courtroom.
I don't know nothing about that.
Let me open that for you.
No, I got it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got it. But see,
You pray for a drink of water too? You pray for a drink of water?
man, just
Man, he was on my show, and that's first time I see somebody pray for
no, this
water.
me.
Listen, I pray for food.
Yeah, this me.
I ain't never prayed for no liquor gang. I ain't gonna lie, that's the
So watch this.
Hold on, man. My man said he had to pray over that water. That's crazy work. But let's get to the important thing he said. Now, these are things that I had to deal with. He said something about support. And I first remember, it's funny, seemed like yesterday, when I was on child support for my daughter. And during that time was probably about 90, 98, 97, 98. Me and her mother was no longer together. And she put me on child support. I remember that because when I went to court, I was in there waiting for my case to be called. I didn't have a lawyer. I recommend any man who's dealing with that, have a lawyer, have legal representation if you can afford it. But I remember doing that and going through that. And the guy right before me was talking to the judge, and he was come out in his orange jumpsuit because he was locked up because he was behind. And he said, man, you supposed to be paying this and this. He said, you behind this and this amount. Why can't you pay it? He said, man, I've been trying. I've been doing what I can to pay what I can. We said, you need to do more. He told this man, you have the potential of making this much. The man said, you need to tell my employer that because I'm sure not getting that much just pay. That judge told him, I don't care what you got to do. If you got to go out and collect cans, you need to make sure you down to that office and paying your child support. Or you're going to remain locked up until you can get this amount of money. Now, fortunately for him, I guess his lady found some money, paid it, and we're to the point that he was about to get released. I came up next, and I said, Judge, how do I end up not being like him? He said, Ms. Hink, as long as you pay your support, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you don't, we will bless you with that orange jumpsuit, and you will get your 3 square meals. I said, yeah, I don't want none of that. At that time, I had to pay $50 a week. $5 went towards my rearage. The other $45 went to my daughter. Now, y'all may say, oh, that's not a lot. That was in the 90s. It's a little bit different then. They base it off your income. And during that time, still in school, trying to do what I can. I was giving money. I was sending home my scholarship check to her. I was split up between my mom and my daughter's mother. And I already paid some money already, right? Brought my money order receipts But he didn't want to accept that. He told me those are gifts. I said, no, Judge. I said, no, I've been paying. So he looked over at her. Thank God she was being honest. She was honest enough front and forthright. She asked him, has he been paying? And these receipts he got. Did you get this money? She looked him over. She said, yes, I have got this money. He has been paying. He has been, buying Pampers and wipes and different stuff like that for. So the amount of money I've given her so far during that time was probably about $2,500. So my rearages was like $5,500. So he cut it in half, right? So instead of owing $5,500, I was only $3,000 in the rearage. So that's when they set up that plan. Like I said, $5 went towards the rearage, and the other $45 went towards for my daughter. Now, whenever you're in the rearage in my state, I don't know about other states. In my states, if you're in the rearage, you don't get taxed. You don't get your tax returns. So 5 years, I didn't get a return. 5 years, I got no tax returns for 5 years because of rearages. Like I said, I wasn't making a lot of money. My federal wasn't a lot. And during that time, I didn't know I had the right to claim my daughter every other year at that time. Now, like I said, I was making little to no money. I had no knowledge of the family court laws. But after I went to court, that situation, I educated myself. And once I found out the laws and my rights, I found out that I do have the right to claim my daughter every other year. But you're talking about for 5 years, I didn't have this knowledge. 5 years after the court date. But once I gained that knowledge, I had a conversation with my daughter's mother. I said, well, look, I have the right, and I will be enforcing that right to claim her every other year. So we went to mediation. Unfortunately, when I did go to mediation, they increased my child's support up for another $25. So instead of paying $50, 5 years down the road, I was paying $70, which was fair because I was making more money. In fact, I think I even had a second job by then. But by then, I did have a lawyer and legal representation. So I do know about that child support stuff. I had to deal with it. When I went through my divorce, I had to deal with child. They set up child support. So I had to deal with two situations, two different instances, for my daughter and my son. Now, me and her had a conversation when we tried to get back together. She took me out support, and we said, look, we weren't going to get back together. It wasn't going to work out. We weren't going to remarry. So we ended up splitting again. And that was the last time that we ever got together. And we both agreed, we don't have to bring child support in. We grown. We understand. So we had an agreement. No child support. She knows whenever she needed something for my son, he asked me, I got it. Wasn't a problem. We came to that type of understanding. But it took a conversation. It had to take two people acting like adults to work that thing out. And we did. So for his last 5 years, I wasn't on child support. So from his freshman year all the way up to his senior year, I wasn't on support. Didn't need to be because we had an understanding. She asked for this amount, you know what I'm saying? And guys, it's storming in my city right now. So if the power goes out, please forgive me. I'm gonna still try to do the show and try to finish it out. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do a mobile. Right now, I got my phone on the charger. So in case it does go out, we're gonna try to do the show regardless. But the light's flickering because it's storming outside. And look at this. My wife said she hates the storm. Yes, she does. Travel One says more black men need to address mental health issues. They have, as you have said before, leaders take care of all business. I know that's right. Travel One, I see you on them other panels. You be windmilling like a mug, boy, in that chat. I see you. But you come over here, you do pretty good. Even though you take your digs every once in a while, you're all right with me. But man, while you're here, hopefully you did this. Hopefully you hit that like button for me, Travel One. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I see some other people come in. Let me acknowledge it. Miss TMKC, shout out to you and hello, ma'am. Hopefully all is well with you. Let me get back to this show. But yes, and child support's a mother. Now, fortunately for me, I didn't have a lot of negative interaction with the situation. I didn't have a lot of bad back and forth. Like I said, most of that situation, I ran it through my lawyer. I handled that. There's only 2 times that I had to actually go to court. No, when in court, it was mediation. We didn't have to take it to the court for us to divorce. We just went through mediation when I went to the divorce. The only time I really had to go to actual court was for my daughter. The first time I ever got put on child support, I didn't have a lawyer then. But after that situation, I had a lawyer. So from there on, my lawyer represented me, never had to go. She called me up. We talked about the situation, what happened, what I need to do, what I don't need to do, what's my next move, and went from there. Now, was it worth it? Yes, it was for me to pay that money, to have to have her own retainer, take care of my business. Yes, it was worth it because now it allowed me to not miss no days at work. It allowed me to continue to work and stay focused and locked in what I need to do at work and in my career or whatever I was doing, and allow her to do her job. So that's why I always advise you, your Lord. But you still need to know what's going on. I still had to figure out and learn the family court law. And most of that I learned by allowing my lawyer to explain it to me. Well, why they do this and this and this? And she explained to me. And I trust her, but I had to verify. So I follow up with looking up what she was telling me, making sure I did the research on what she was saying. So I have my own understanding. Fellas, that's very important. Know what's going on. Know your case. Know your situation. Even learn the situation of other case because you could fall under that same rules and regulations. So definitely make sure you know your laws in your whatever state you're from. With that being said, let's keep going.
Kids, about
10 kids will make it, man. It'll make you. But I'm gonna be honest though. What I learned by having my kids, every time I put them first, my life elevates.
Wow.
And I had to learn how to put them first by putting myself first. Because I had to put me first.
Put you first.
I had to put me first. Because I feel like you only could love somebody as much as you love yourself. So I feel like if my dad and my mama and them was doing a lot of other things a lot, I'm like, they only could give their love. They were giving me their love. Right. But they love just, if I got $500, I can't give you $1,200 unless I go put myself in debt. And I feel like when you borrow your debt from yourself, that's what create anxiety, stress, which allow diseases to be more prone in your body. So I feel like you only can love somebody much you love yourself. And once I start putting myself first, getting into the word and all this, I learned how to put my kids first, and that's when my life elevated. And I feel like my parents, I don't have nothing against them because they didn't know. They was trying. I remember my mom, some months before she passed, she was trying everything to find that. She was going to church and everything, but she didn't know the only thing you had to do is put yourself first.
I have a different mentality though.
Okay, share with me yours.
I don't ever put my kids first. Right, and it's different. I've been with my wife since I was 18. So we've been with each other since we was kids.
And how old were you when you got married?
Yeah, I was 26 when I got married.
Okay, so you started 18 and got married?
8 years together.
So y'all had a beautiful opportunity to just be friends for a while.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And I learned through that process that if I try to put myself first as the father, right? Let's be honest, all of us as men will sit here and be like, I'm the man, I'm the leader of the household, right? How could I be the leader and put myself first? That's not what leaders do. Like in my family, my grandfather, Army guy, didn't say much. But one thing I knew, he was putting everybody before himself. Like my grandmother came first, the kids came, and then my grandfather took care of himself. My father did the same thing. And what I learned in life is the more I focused on my partner, the mother of my children, and I made sure she was good, she was able to reciprocate that. And then when my kids saw it, they were able to see like, oh, that's what a living, loving relationship looks like. They were now involved in our relationship the same way. We speak honestly and open in real time. Any issues my kids have, they have the confidence to come to me because they've seen that their mom can come to me and I'm not gonna be like, it's a safe space. So it's a safe space. Wow. For me, as a father, it's like, you know what, I wanna create a space where everybody knows that they safe.
But you know where that comes from, I'm just hearing both sides, right? Even all of our stories are different. You feel what I'm saying? We're all raising kids on a different level. Wayne is doing it the right way when it comes to people with multiple partners, correct? There is a blueprint for love.
What do you mean by that, a blueprint for love?
A blueprint for love when it's saying...
Let me say this. I definitely wouldn't encourage this, what Wayne is doing. Jesus Christ. Nasty work. 7 kids before 22. 5 baby mamas. I don't know if y'all seen that interview that Cam did with K. Michelle. And this is what one of the things she was talking about. That's the only thing I agree with. Fellas, we do have to make sure we're not continue the stereotype of men creating broken homes. Now, I know a certain individual is going to love me saying that. Her name is Travel One. She's going to be windmilling in the chat if she's still here with us. But when she said that on that interview, that's probably the one and very few things that she said that I can agree with. I don't believe in that. I spoke against Nick Cannon. I spoke against Cam Newton. And Kountry Wayne, I'm speaking against you too, brother. Nothing against you. Man, that is crazy. I couldn't imagine. My buddy Lonnie said, wow, he made life harder on himself with 7 kids. Lonnie, he got 10 total. That was just 7 at the time. 5 different baby mamas. He said one's got 3, the other one's got 3. And I guess the other one, got 2 here, 1 here, whatever, how that adds up. That's crazy work. That's a lot of kids. And if they're not all living you're spreading yourself thin. And then that's when I have a problem with it. That's when I have an issue with it, because now these kids are not getting the opportunity to spend quality time with their father. Why? Because you got multiple kids, and not like they're all, even if they was in one house, that still would be a challenge, right? I could imagine my grandparents and their parents and their parents and their parents who may have a lot of kids spending a lot of quality. It wasn't a lot of quality time being spent. And so now you got all of these kids with these several different personalities, and I'm sure they're all looking for some quality time with dad, but it can't happen. You only got 24 hours in a day. And if you got your kids all over the place, where's the time? Where's the time? When do you have the time? Now, does he have the resources? Yes, he's blessed to have the resources. Not every man is like that who has a lot of kids. Not every man is like that to be blessed with income to be able to bring all them kids and bring them into your home, be able to pick up and go see them in whatever city or state they live in. Not everybody has that blessing. Now, fortunately, he does. He can do that. But I still don't think I wouldn't call it a good idea. I took the mantra of have as many kids you can afford. I had 2 kids. One out of wedlock, one in. And even with just 2 kids, there was still a challenge because my daughter lived all in California. I got her during the summer times. I seen her on the holidays. We got flown out. I flew out. I flew out on the holidays. Now Thanksgiving, she didn't come because it wasn't worth, because it was only gonna be like 3 days really spending time with her. She fly in on that Wednesday, then have to fly back out on Sunday. So it wasn't worth the plane ticket. But Christmas, she spent 3 weeks with us. Summertime, spring break, we kind of rotated. One spring break she was with me, the other one she was with her. Man, Lonnie said, I look at my brother with 5 kids, with 5 baby mamas. I can't do it. Brother Lonnie, I know what you mean. That's crazy work. Talk to an individual. He got 4 kids, 4 baby mama. Stressing. They giving him running through hell. The dude look older than me. I'm 50 and he's 41, and he look like he older than me. Look like he lived a rough life, because why he got on them goddamn baby mamas? Talk about they getting on his nerves. But they are. They running your ass through the ringer. Ain't shit you could do about it. That's a lot of kids. Now, I'm not going to sit there and tell you don't have them. If you have them and you are responsible for them, you take care of your business, you're spending quality time with them, not just financially support them, but emotionally support them. Yeah, hey, by all means, cool. If you ain't got all these damn baby mamas everywhere getting on your damn nerves, hey, shout out to you. But if you're in a situation like Wayne's doing, like my man Lonnie said his brother is, that's a bad investment. I'm just saying right there. That's a bad investment. Lonnie said, I had one. That's enough for me. Said my daughter was so spoiled. I know that's right, Lonnie. Shout out to you, brother. And shout out to you for learning that lesson that your brother taught you. That's crazy work. Work I don't want to be a part of. Thank God. Look, when I had my daughter, I went, like I said, 10 years before my son came around. I was barely paying for her, taking care of her financially. Now, emotionally, I was there, but financially, I wasn't there. I wasn't where I am now, right? So she was my a guinea pig. I don't even want to equate my daughter to a guinea pig. It's crazy, but that's what it was. I learned from the mistakes that I did with her to do to raise my son. Certain things she didn't get the financial support that my son got. My son was been blessed the whole time I was born. I was blessed with the career that I'm doing now. Let me take it. He was 1 year old when I got there, but still, even before I got there, I was making good money at my previous job before I got there. So he was able to get that blessings, which my daughter had to struggle through some things. I was working 2 jobs. Matter of fact, I even got her to the third job where I was doing weekend work. You know what I'm saying? That's when I was talking about I was doing bartending and being a bar back. And that was my weekend job. Second job was the third job right there. But my second job was working at Home Depot, restocking shelves at Home Depot. While being a substitute teacher. That's what it was. But I had to do what I had to do to make it. And I worked at Home Depot just to pay child support alone. So it don't cut into my money and to what I had going on at the time, or what I was trying to do. But those are certain sacrifices you got to make, man. Those are certain sacrifices that I had to try to make, and I had to do in order to maintain and keep my head afloat. But as a father, those are some of the things we do. And most of the time, like I said, the kids don't understand that. And you got to explain to them. You got to explain to them. If you got a good woman, a good significant, a good wife, she needs to be reinforced. I know daddy's not always here all the time because he's working a lot, but he's working to try to help keep us in a good space, to maintain us, to bring his household, to make sure he provides for us and got the things that we necessarily need in order to have these things, so we could eat some of the food, so you can wear some of them clothes, so you can have some of these extracurricular activities that you're involved in. There's a certain level of sacrifice as a man that I had to make. Do I be tired, worn down, got headaches? Hell yeah. Hungry because I only had my lunch and I didn't have nothing else to hold me over when I went from one job to the next. Yeah, that happened. King's Gold Child. I don't know what she mean by that. We gonna keep on moving. She trying to be funny. My man Lonnie said I had 2 full-time restaurant jobs. I know that's right. I know that's right, brother. That's a certain sacrifice we had to make as men. But with that being said, let's keep going.
First of all, you got to find Jesus. Jesus is love.
I like where you're going with.
You see what I'm saying?
And I would think it's crazy
because everybody's doing what they're supposed to do because they're leading off with love. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely, I agree with you on that.
We got 3 different households. Stay with me. I'm finna make 3 different points. But
walk it out, Doc. Walk it out, Doc.
We got many people with different baby mamas and different baby fathers.
Okay.
There's a way to find love within all those units where y'all can prosper together.
Let me tell you what is amazing, man. What is amazing? Because how old are you?
I'm 33.
See, now what is amazing is that, now I'm the OG at tables now, which is wild to me. But now I'm the only guy at the table who didn't have his father. So I did not have a father. Didn't have a father, didn't have a mother. And so I was adopted. And then even the lady that adopted me really didn't want me. And so all I knew was the rejection of not being accepted.
Understandable.
So when I hear you guys talk with the level of confidence and even fluidity, like y'all have a level of confidence to even see life different, to see relationships different. And there's no space for me to judge you. It's just space for me to be able to go, man, I wish I would have had the same type of beginning. Because I do believe that the reason why y'all are so confident to think differently is because you had a man somewhere in your life.
Dad.
Yeah.
My dad.
Yeah. And you can't deny that.
That's real.
I tell everybody, bro, like growing up, people have action figures or sport figures or heroes. I ain't want to be like Mike. I want to be like my dad.
Me too. That is a fact.
That's crazy.
Your dad was around?
Yeah, my dad was
Your
around.
mom and dad married?
Yeah.
You know what's beautiful about, because me and you talk off camera.
He doing the same thing.
And me and him cool, for real. And I realize what it is, if somebody come from that type of background, I feel like you a vessel to how a relationship should go. But see, I'm coming from the streets, so it's different. You know what I'm saying? My mom and dad ain't home.
Yeah.
So, coming out the streets.
Let me acknowledge the love that's being shown from Big Anna Lynn, one of the biggest haters on this side of Mississippi. Big Anna Lynn with the $10 super check. He said, I was gone due to the military, and I knew I couldn't spend time with them, so no kids. And I wake up every day and thank the Lord, no kids. And keep your kids away from me. Big Ant 11 with his crazy ass. Shout out to Big Ant 11 put the $10 super chat. You had to, you chose to. And I appreciate the blessings. Like I always say when I talk to you, brother, I appreciate you and thank you for your service. Big Ant 11 know his ass got some goddamn kids. He got them little Asian and black babies out there. I know you do, Big Ant. I know what you're doing. You better claim them goddamn kids. Big Ant, don't let me see your ass on the episode of Maury Forward. 5 years down the road, talk about I'm that baby's pappy. I better not see that. Big Ant ain't shit. I swear to God. Shout out to Big Ant 11, bro. He said, F them goddamn kids. Don't bring them things around me. With that being said, let's keep it going. I ain't food with you, Big Ant. Shout out to you, big brother.
It's a little.
And bro, let me tell you, I don't think what you're doing is wrong.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. We both.
Yeah, we both agree.
Like if somebody it's a video that went viral when the guy was saying like, only way you cure disease.
Let me say this. He may not be wrong, but I don't like what he doing. So, and Devale, he's not doing it wrong. Mine, yeah. 7 kids at the age of 22, 10 now, 5 baby mamas, that's wrong to me. You can say what you want. I wouldn't sign up. I wouldn't tell nobody to sign up for that goddamn job. That's crazy work. Jesus Christ. Woo! These ladies, man, they were rip him a new ass and call him a degenerate. Out there making all these goddamn broken homes. You can have it. I don't want it. Let's go.
It's a disease.
Yes,
the guy on there
it.
was like,
yeah,
so basically like, and I think that's why my fan base is I got the church in the hood because I understand both sides. But I'm like, man, when you come from the streets, it's nobody never understand what that poverty in the streets.
I'm gonna tell you why
that goes back to what I was trying to say earlier.
With love,
the love. Our stories are different.
Yes,
but the love is still there.
How you show like cause I feel like how you show up with love when there's also like it can be some things that knock that love
poverty
off, or like it can it can throw your psyche off a little bit, right?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Like, okay, I learned how to show up with love for my daughter's mother through obstacles that we went through the courtroom.
Right.
It was rocky.
Right.
Very rocky. But we go through that, and 3 years later, you know, my daughter's 8 now. So it took us 3 years to get to a point where we could show up with love and putting the pride to the side. I think be helping that love.
Because you know what it is, like we don't know each other for real. We jumped into a serious situation that's gonna have us together for the rest of our life. I don't know you after 3-4 months.
And
I have to learn you.
Sometimes, like for me, I had to get to know her because she said she sent me the picture that she was pregnant.
That's what now I gotta know you.
Now I do my. We getting ready for a Super Bowl.
Right.
But are we answering your question?
From a pregame to a Super Bowl.
I'm on a high.
Right.
But Luke, are we answering your question? Like you asked the question.
You answered it.
I want to answer it, I think.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is a big part that men don't want to talk about. We all got to use better discernment before we lay down with these women.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Let's let that marinate. Come on. Let's let that marinate.
On this side for a reason.
But I understand. No, when I look at his relationship, I'm like, man, I really follow you. I'm like, man, that's beautiful.
Me too.
No, it is beautiful.
And coming from certain places, we really wish I wish I would have grew up.
Yeah.
In a certain.
And your daddy taught you that, though, right?
If I'm being honest, no.
Who taught you that?
So I got a brother. My brother's 2 years younger than me, right? He got 4 kids now, 2 different baby mothers. Grew up in the same house that I did. You know, didn't get married until he met his third woman now that he's married to, right? And I don't want to put my brother out there, but I even had to learn how to have empathy for my brother in the same house. Because I used to look at my brother like, bro, you grew up like me. Why are you making such poor decisions? Then I had to think about it. Me and my brother grew up latchkey kids. Both my parents worked. So my parents was out the house. I got up. I got my brother ready for school. We went to school. I picked him up from school. We got home. My parents didn't get home till 7 o'clock. Me and my brother raised each other in the house. You know what I'm saying? I was in the streets, but I wasn't a street kid. I was in the streets, but I still go do my Rubik's Cube and stuff. My brother was in the streets.
Yeah.
So his life was curated by Flatbush Avenue and Tennis Court, where he grew up. Mine grew up at Andrews Huddy Junior High School with more artistic kids. So I feel like my life was curated by what I saw a lot of times on television because I looked up to things, right? So just like Lou said, I looked up, my first film I ever saw was Boys in the Hood. And I watched how much trauma came from that movie, right? And I remember it was the scene where Doughboy's mom had 2 kids, 2 different baby fathers, and she treated one different than the other. And I remember saying to myself young, like, yo, I hope nobody ever treats my kid differently because, and then I was like, wait a minute, if I just married a woman I'm having kids with, I don't have to worry about other people. That's really was the impetus for me. My dad never sat down and said, you need to stay with one woman, and I watched them, but it was the things I watched. And then, not for nothing, I met my wife, and she was like, I want to do this with you.
Sounds like your father, but it sounds like your father taught you about what he did more than what he said.
Him and my grandfather.
That's what I'm saying.
They were good examples, great examples.
Yeah. And so now let me ask you guys, first of all, did we answer your question?
Yeah.
No, we never finished.
What was the question?
He said, how do you lead with love?
No.
He said, how did he what?
He said, how do you lead with love when you got some women who going through these things? And that's when I said we have to use better discernment before we lay it down.
Right.
And that was my answer to you.
What was your question?
No. Maybe I was asking and answering.
Did you drink some of that stuff?
No. This is water. And I prayed over it.
Right.
Think about it.
Okay.
You got sons?
I got a daughter.
Okay, you don't have sons. You have sons?
I have a son.
You have a son. You have sons, right?
I have two.
Two have twos, right? So let's answer this question.
The alcohol.
Yes.
Ooh, no.
You all right?
I want some tea.
Yeah. Let's get him something non-alcoholic.
Yeah, give me some for
Let's get some Kool-Aid. We got Kool-Aid.
Give me some for
I tell
children
everybody
church.
what you talking about.
For
Children church.
How both of y'all was in the same house. I tell people like that, like people like the small town I was from with 2 red lights. So it's like when somebody in New York be like, it's the gutter, but at the same time, opportunity is right up the road.
Right.
And the country towns is only one way.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why every black person in the small towns knew Donald Trump was gonna win. Cause we knew it's a lot of white people that the world don't even pay attention to. Like,
Absolutely, yeah.
They our neighbors. I'm like,
that's the truth.
I'm like, they don't have a chance with
That's
Trump.
a fact.
He got a cut. I'm like, we knew all the cities. Like, I'm like, y'all don't know these. Y'all don't know Ashley and
They in poverty too.
Because in the small towns, we don't get looked at. Only reason I made it was the internet. You ain't going to them real. I'm talking real country towns. I ain't talking about.
I know what you mean.
So
not Atlanta.
That's one way.
Yeah.
Ain't no opportunity. There's one way. All the mothers of my kids, they didn't have a chance. Now they are good parents now. You know what I'm saying? They are. When I say if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to be where I'm at. But I knew their parents. I knew our parents. We was not getting out of there.
So let me ask y'all this then. Let's. When it comes to the fear that you've ever had, that whatever mistakes or whatever.
Now, one thing I didn't like is because a lot of great questions was asked initially, and I don't think they fully got to express themselves because they was kind of cutting each other off. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of hated that they was doing that because I wanted a lot of the guys to elaborate on what they was talking about. I really think that was probably the only negative thing about this was a lot of guys was starting to make a good point, but then somebody would jump in and kind of go their own route and kind of take it off topic or off the question that was asked. So we get kind of like my man Lou. I don't think they really got to answer his question because they got off to a tangent on something else. And then once they started talking about something else, then the whole question of vibe changed. So that's just unfortunate that did happen in a lot of instances in doing the video. Even at this 26-minute mark, they didn't change it. The subject probably about 3 times in that short amount of time. And I hate it, like I said, I hate it because there's a lot of good things could probably have been shared in those situations, in what they would had to say or where they started to go with it. Unfortunately, it just got cut off. Lou said, Lonnie said, right, I don't like when they cut people off and overtalk. Man, I don't either, Lonnie. I can't lie. And so sometimes I try to think about that. And when I create a show, like say on Wednesdays, kind of talk about and react to, like when I do react to other shows, I kind of want to talk about some of the stuff that I was thinking, just didn't get the opportunity to say, or some of the subjects that was talked about that brought up, but we didn't get to really elaborate too much on it. So that's why I kind of trying to make sure when I do react, I kind of speak on it then and try to take some mental notes so I can remember and make sure I speak on it. But yeah, especially in this, man, there was so many great questions, and you're gonna continue to see it as we continue to go. But there was so many great questions that was asked and is about to be talked about, about to be touched on, but they really didn't get touched on because they got over talked or somebody came in, interrupted, and switched out the conversation. But let's keep going.
Inside of you that was not right or fully together, have you had to deal with the fear of you're afraid you're going to pass that on to you?
Hell yeah.
Every cousin, uncle, auntie, everybody got a baby father, baby daddy, they got a new boyfriend, this, that, and the third. So everything is just a circus.
So yeah.
So I don't really know what a stable home looks like. Remember when we talked about, I used to see that from my coaches growing up. I used to be like, dang, Dad, I don't really want to come home. Like, I like this over here. This man come down the steps. Hey, baby, we good? They making breakfast. We eat breakfast at the table.
Got his robe in newspaper.
Like this, but like a real family.
Yeah.
I'm just like, dang.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. So it's like I want to get at to my daughter. Obviously, I couldn't do that with her mom, right? So my next thing is, okay, the next woman that's gonna be with me locked in, I want to have that household, but it's the fear of, am I gonna mess up like they did?
You know how you get rid of that fear? Tell your kids your fears. Tell them. I spoke to my dad for the first time a couple weeks ago.
So unfortunately, my man Devale did a lot of this, changing of the subject. Now, hold on, he talked about fear of messing up, right? That's like me getting married, and I messed the marriage up, right? And now I'm fearful or hesitant to go through the next one because of what I did in the previous one. You know, going through the next one and hoping that I'm successful on this one and not end up in divorce and losing money and losing this and being hurt and all that. That's the type of fear I think he's talking about, not being successful in a relationship because he's not seen one. And now, what does that got to do with you telling your kids about? Now, see, I kind of agree with telling your kids, share your kids about your fear about certain things. But what does this got to do with what he's about to talk about? Nothing. But he jumps in, interrupts, overtalks him, and now is about to go so. Now, I'm not saying what he has to share right now is not going to be, it's not relevant or it's important. It is. Why? I hate, like Lonnie, like you said, I hate it when it happens. Because now the questions or the statement that he's about to make, it's not gonna be talked about because now we're about to go on whatever Devale's about to talk about fear and expression and sharing with your kids. So let's keep going.
I told this on the interview. I tell you exactly what happened. I was driving. My dad was in the passenger seat. My mom was in the back. And I was driving. My mom said something, and my father snapped at her a little bit. And now I'm in my car. So I'm like, hey man, you just had a tantrum for no reason. You have to chill out. And then my father don't play no games. He looked right at me and said, hey, that's still my wife, and you still my son. And in that moment, I was just like, okay, this is gonna go somewhere, and I don't want it to go. And I said, we'll talk about it later. So we went to the house, sat down in the kitchen for 3 hours. And my father sat down and told me every fear he had and the things he was concerned about from the time he had me. That's what gave me the realization, like, wait a minute, you got married at 21, had me within a year, had my brother 2 years later, so you were 23, 24. I know my grandfather didn't sit down and tell you how to be a dad or be a husband. So I said, how did you figure it out? He said to me, I'm still trying. And I said to myself, wait a minute,
bro. He said that to you.
This is why I'm saying you need to tell your sons.
But you got to tell me, as a son, how did that level of transparency and honesty hit you that your daddy said that?
My heart got full because here I am at 40 with 4 kids feeling the same way. And to hear that my father, who was my superhero, had the same fears was like, wait a minute.
Bro,
so I don't like, because think about it.
What a gift. What a gift.
I want to be as perfect as my dad is. My father raised 2 Division I athletes. My sister went to school, 90 average. I never seen my father cry. My father was just a man. He wore the same shoes every single day, bought my mom 3 cars before he bought his own car, bought me and my brother and my sister our cars before he bought anything for himself. That's my superhero. So when my superhero says to me, I was scared. There was times I wanted to leave. Now I'm like, shit, that was me.
Yeah,
So
fact.
now he looks more human to me than he ever looked because he was being honest. And what that did was give me the confidence to say, wait a minute, so all this time you thought you were fucking up and I turned out like this.
Yes.
I was like, I need to tell my sons early what my fears are. And that's why I was telling you, tell your kids, man, because the minute they see you as human and no longer see you as this esoteric creature that has to be perfect, they'll come to you and talk to you about their fears. And then you can help guide them. Because that goes back to what we talked about with discernment, right? I got 4 sons, right? If a certain type of woman comes in, we as older gentlemen now can look and say, son, that's not the one for you, right?
Yeah.
But him at 13, 14 won't know. Us at 13, 14, nobody checked us or told us. So we ended up with women.
My dad told me.
Oh, your pops told you?
He told me, nah, hell, he said, you're gonna have a bunch of kids.
See?
You're gonna mess around, but he didn't tell. I'm
We
like,
didn't get to that conversation.
the way God made it, never get it. You know what I mean? The only thing I can do to make up for it is try to not eat chicken. Because that's why you became vegan. I'm like, so now I be like, I gotta at least do that. But
That's his discipline.
I feel like it takes discernment not to drink alcohol. You know the food killers. Everybody got a grandma foot cut off. So I'm like, hey, that's the only thing I can make up for that.
Everybody hopping around.
Yeah. So it's like, a woman? I'm like, God, hey. Yeah, so I'm like, we all know we died.
Think about soul food. We celebrate it. We celebrate it.
So everybody, Big Mama.
I made a service, and I knew I was making a bad decision, but I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. That's why I never judge a crackhead.
So what's your biggest fear as a father?
That God don't let me go. That's it. Because I'm like, I don't seen too much. Like, I don't see too much. Because if you get this thing right, then this thing gonna be a problem. You get this thing right, I'm like, God, I'm telling you right now, hold me. Now, he's sitting a woman in my life. Now I'm like, okay, I got married before. I got married because I'm like, I want to finally do. When I made my first, I made like 100,000 one weekend. You know what I'm saying? Doing the come to clubs. I was in Texas, and I was like,
Let me get some money.
the mother of the kids I was with, I say, let's get married, because I was waiting to get right financially
Talk
to
about
finally
that.
do it, right?
Yeah.
We went and got married at the courthouse that week, but what happened was, I done created this situation with all these other mothers of my kids. I'm living like this, and they living like that. I say, that ain't fair to that child.
Right.
So I got to get out of this and make this right, and put them all on the same, everybody living equal, so when they leave,
I love
and
that.
that's when things changed. But I had already messed up, and I already knew. I had 7 kids at 22, so I'm like, hey God, you already know what time it is, and I don't know if I'm really gonna stop, because these women still look good to me.
That's never
Hold
gonna
on.
stop.
Now-
That ain't
Never gonna
stop.
stop.
But
never gonna stop.
I think one thing that helps me, or that helped me grow with my daughter's mother, is that, like my dad, he told me, he said, bro, I know what you did to get that kid, right? You had to put something in there. He said, what you gonna do to survive this co-parenting thing? You gotta take that out of there. So you can't be, yeah. He said you can't be a child support company. You can't pay with that.
Wow.
Can't pay with that.
That is a fact.
Can't pay
That
with
is a
that.
fact.
This nigga watching and telling me,
That's
"What's
a
that?"
that's a
No,
fact.
that's a fact.
I did that too, and I did that one time. The mother of my kid had moved close by. You know what I mean? When I was with my husband. And I was so happy the kids were close, I said, I'm never dealing with her again. You know what I mean? She ended up with another dude. Now, the situation.
ego.
Okay, what if your baby mama end up with somebody who ain't good for her?
Oh, okay.
So it was like, don't matter what the situation is, man. Ain't nothing one situation, just please, God, help me. Because don't matter what, there's no fix.
What about you, DC? What's your fear?
I really don't have a fear. You know what I'm saying? Because when you walk in fear, you give stuff light. You see what I'm saying? So now we got time to fix it and correct it.
I'm just so impressed with the maturity of y'all at y'all's age.
You know what I'm saying? Like I can't give nothing that much power
Hey, boy,
over.
what you just said, you need to say that again.
You can't have, like, I understand people may be afraid or anxious because they have to go through something.
So okay, so
see what I'm
what
saying?
what would be your anxiety at times?
I would say now is the mistakes that I can't fix.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
Which one you drunk first? Cause everything you saying now, boy.
I got them right here.
But you want
You know what I'm saying?
But because what he said, and I've been saying this for like the last 6 months, I've been telling everybody, fear and faith is the same. Whatever you fear gonna happen, and whatever you got faith in. Whatever it's supposed to say in the Bible, say if you think a lion outside gonna eat you, it probably is. So that's why when I do certain deals in business, I don't let scared money don't make no. You scared about your money. You know what I mean? I'm like, I ain't putting that in there, cause you're not finna have this.
That's like one for in, one for the out.
So this is, and let me go ahead and just ask this, since, and this is really y'all fault. This is y'all fault because y'all have established this type of aesthetic at the table.
I'm so glad to be here at your table. You don't.
I know. Oh man.
You the OG.
Enjoying this.
Man,
Wow, man.
you don't know what you did. You don't know what you did for me, brother. When I told you that was part of that, like, cause sometimes people people in the streets, the church will judge them.
Yes, sir.
And my mama, like some months before she passed, she was trying to find God. And man, the only music she would listen to is your music. You know what I'm saying? So I be listening to Down by the Riverside, man, to get me through a lot of things because you don't know what your music did.
Wow.
You was the first one that you brought people together in a way that the church couldn't.
You brought our generation to church.
Seriously.
Church. They only listen to him.
You brought you. I don't know if you knew what you was doing.
Yeah.
But
You got street niggas listening to your music.
Stomp came into church.
You are they
Our
preacher.
whole demographic.
It made church cool.
was in there. Yeah.
Like some people think church ain't.
It's like, we can walk in there without being
I talk
And
about
not
you on
be judged.
stage, man.
Be
I use one of
ourselves.
your songs, and I want to know how much you're gonna charge me for the rights of it. Cause I want to ask you that when I came here. Okay?
I agree with him. Matter of fact, I'll let you answer your question because I got a question for you though.
Well, go ahead because I'm just humbled by these statements. Go ahead.
I do have a question because I don't have grown kids. And I've seen that you publicly have gone through stuff with your grown kids.
Yes.
And I just want to ask, and I know how I would deal with shit, but like, how did you deal with people having opinions about, how old is your son?
He just turned 37.
So you're 36, you have 36 plus pregnancy, 37 years of life with this young man.
Yeah.
And people decided to have an opinion over what they heard for 30 seconds. Can you please tell me how you dealt with that? Because I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
And the ad on top, you a God-fearing man.
Yes.
People are putting you on a pedestal where they
You know
feel
how
like
it
you
is.
have no mistakes.
Yeah.
You can't say nothing like you're not human.
Right, you're not human. You know that, bro. You know that. How did you deal with that? Because, man.
And the sad part is, I'm still dealing with it. That's the sad part. That was just an opportunity for the public to see what, as a family, we've dealt with. And I love him. I love him. He's my firstborn. I mean, that's my firstborn son. And we've had many rough days. And he's got so much potential, bro.
Can I tell you something? As much as I love my father, me and my father didn't talk for a long time. I couldn't wait to get out of my father's house. And this is part of the reason why I wanted to ask you that question, but also, people don't know what it's like to live with their dad.
Yeah.
I lived with my father, and my father was not.
It's different.
It is. Like, it's hard as a man growing up.
My dad left at 6, but I kept going back and forth, and there was a time where it was like, he's not there, but he got Alzheimer's. I don't know this. So I'm thinking he don't want to be with me, not knowing he got a brain disease.
Right.
So I'm thinking I'm being neglected. Now I'm going to the streets. I'm thinking I'm following the same path of what we supposed to do because it's like,
I was like, y'all not gonna be fighting in my house. So for lack of a better word, I was like, fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
Like, I love you. Because your father's trying to hold you accountable as a man. Your father's trying to tell you the things that you're not doing wrong, and you 18, 19 years old, and you just thinking like, man, you just don't like me. I went through that with my pops. There was years in that house, I lived in the basement by myself. I ain't talked to my brother or my father. Because every time me and my brother met eye to eye, it was a fist fight. And then my pops like, y'all not gonna be fighting in my house. So for lack of a better word, I was like, fuck all y'all.
Yeah.
Like, and then not for nothing, and the reason why I asked that question is because I got 4 sons. I know there's gonna come a point where we're not gonna see eye to eye.
Let me tell you this. I think that the biggest challenge is what he said and what you said. I think that being at church takes away your humanity. So you don't get the opportunity to just be human. You don't have the opportunity to make a mistake, because think about it, most dads make mistakes.
All the time.
They just don't have to make mistakes in front of everyone.
Exactly.
And it was a mistake I made. You know, I mean, how I communicated to him was wrong. You know, I can't justify.
Ms. Hink said, I hate how the guys from Sisters, Devale Ellis she's talking about, makes it always about him, Hink. Kirk Franklin was about to say something touching and deep, and old Big Mouth interrupts. This is true. So now he's not the only one, but he did it a lot. I can't say that. He did it more than anybody. Yes, he did. But I understand what Kirk's dealing with. You know, I had to deal with that with my daughter, where there was a period of time where my daughter didn't talk to me. She was mad at me. And during that time, I made sure I continued to talk to her. I try to call her. She would just send me the voicemail. So I would always send a text every day. Every day. Didn't matter how mad she was at me, I sent her a text every day letting her know I love her. I know you're upset with me. I can tell. I'm not going to stop loving you. You're my daughter, and I'm not going to stop loving you, even though you're mad at me right now. And that went on for probably, I'm going to say about 6 months. That's what it seemed like. Might have been close to about 4 or 5 months, but it felt like that long. That's a long time. Then one day she finally responded back. And I told her, I said, well, I'm glad to hear from you, but whenever you're ready to talk, give me a call. I don't care what time of day it is, what time of night, what I'm doing. I'll stop what I'm doing and we're gonna have the conversation. And so she called me while I was at work. And that time I was busy at work, but like I told her in the text, I stopped. I took an early lunch. I went out to my truck, and we had the conversation. And she shared with me while she was not talking, while she was upset with me. And so when she explained that to me, you know, it kind of touched me. It challenged me as a father, as a man. Because that was during a time when I was involved with my ex-wife, right? She felt like, and she admitted she was jealous of her brother. You know, my brother was, her brother was getting more attention than she was. And she knew how I felt because she had a younger brother, and she knew, she felt like she was going through it all over again with her mother. And now her brother's like 5 years younger than her. So let me say this. When you're dealing with that, and I explained to her, I said, look, he's a child, he's young, he needs a little bit more different type of attention than I give you. You're self-efficient, right? When he was born, you was 10 years old. So babies are going to require more attention. And, you know, once I kind of explained to her, she kind of understand, but then the jealous part came in, where my son, Little Hink, was able to have his mother and father together, where she didn't get to have that. And that's where she felt some type of way. And she always kept saying to me, I always wanted you to get back with my mother. I said, well, baby, that's not going to happen. So if you're going to hold that against me, you're going to be holding that against me for the rest of my life, because that's not going to happen. That ship can sail, and that's okay. But the most important thing is that your mother loves you just like I love you. And I don't try to make you feel some type of way, or try not to give your brother more attention than you. And I said, do me a solid. I said, do me a favor. Don't take it out on your brother, because it's not his fault. And she said, "No, Daddy, I don't do that. I try not to. I try not to show it, but it's just something that hurt her heart." And so, as a father, man, you definitely don't want your kids to feel that way, But at the same time, you have to let them know, hey, look, you got siblings that I got to take care of. I got to make sure this is good. You have to make sure that you let them know, regardless of what goes on around me, what happens between me and your mother, I still love you just like she loves you. Even though you are the first, you're the first. So you always gonna have a soft spot in my heart because you was the first. You was my first love as a child that I ever had. You taught me so much at being a father that my son is blessed to have you to go through those certain things that I now became a professional when it came to him on how to deal with you about issues, punishments, discipline, as far as expectations, had to handle certain things. She taught me those things, and I told her, thank you for making me a better father because of what you had to go through and what I had to learn because of you. So, we was able to have that conversation, and I'm glad we was able to have that conversation because it was needed. You don't want your child to have these feelings, these secret feelings, and you never know. That's the worst. And so I was always like, why all of a sudden she ghosted me? Why all of a sudden she just not talk? What's going on? And in the text message, I said, I don't know what I did to hurt you, upset you, to make you mad at me, that you didn't want to talk to me. But I promise you, if we could talk about it, I'm sure we could come up with a resolution and deal with this. And like I said, so it was like I said, it seemed about 6 months that we went through it, but we had to go through that. And that was part of the growth that me and her both had to go through. Like I said, it was a challenge. Once I heard it, and I'm like, why are you, and when she first said it, I kind of went on the defensive instead of trying to really see it from her side. But listen to the conversation, I really had to step back and think. You know what I'm saying? You kind of gotta kind of humble yourself, right? You can't mm, you can't be going out with guns a blazing because like I said, she's a child. She doesn't know. She's just trying to find a way how to break the news to her father on how she's feeling. And so, as me as a grown up, as an adult in the situation, I gotta kind of maneuver that thing and kind of, and not be upset in my feelings because she's not she's not in agreement with me. She's mad at me. I'm an asshole according to her because she feels like this and this and this. Okay, I gotta step back and listen and just not respond. Just let's hear her out. Now, was it challenging at times? Because I didn't think God was doing that, at least from my perspective, but it's not about my perspective, it's about hers. So now I got to see it from her point of view and what she's seeing. And now I got to make some adjustments. I got to call an audible. I got to do something different. I don't want her to feel that way. I don't want her to think that way. I don't want her to see me that way, that I'm treating and spending more time with her than him, or I like him more than I like her. So those are the things you have to maneuver when you have multiple kids. I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine. Ignorant TV says, salute, big dog. What's going on, big brother? I'm glad to see you here. My man Lion said, my daughter done me the same way. We didn't talk for 10 months, man. That when you don't get to talk to your child for a long period of time, that's gut wrenching. I would never want nobody to go through that. And that 6 months seemed like it was forever. And all about something that could have been handled and dealt with in the conversation. But I didn't know. And once I knew of it, something that took probably about an hour or so conversation, easy. But she handled it in the time frame that she wanted to handle it. It wasn't her time yet. And when somebody's mad, you can't make them have the conversation when you want. It's not about you. It's about the person that's being hurt, that's offended, that's upset, that's angry, that's pissed off. It's about them. And it's on their timeline. I can't make her, now, even though I can't make her do, have the conversation. Tell me. She could have went through all the motions and still not even tell me. You know what I'm saying? And still secretly been pissed off and mad at me. What did I resolve in that? Nothing. She's still gonna be mad at me. So now she's putting on a clown face up front. All the while she's having these ill feelings. And them ill feelings could have been directed towards my son, and now she's treating him a certain way. So the situation's not gonna be resolved. Matter of fact, it could make it worse if I try to force her to talk to her when I wanted her to talk to her, instead of when she felt comfortable to have the conversation with me. So those are little things that you have to handle and deal with as a parent. Hopefully none of y'all have to deal with that. I know y'all all perfect. Y'all ain't got to deal with that because y'all don't have them issues. But my man Lonnie, we had them issues. So we had to navigate through that shit. I could see how your daughter felt that way. And kudos to you, how you handled out. However, it doesn't matter how much older she is to little Hink. Daughters need dads in a different way. Now, this is true. You could be generous and caring towards others, but have a difficult with the specific communications styles that healthy relationship requires. It's a stumbling block for so many. See, this is true. This is and then the dynamic, dealing with girls compared to dealing with boys, you got that dynamic. With my son, I was rough as hell. Boy, he got the no nonsense Hink. With my daughter, well, I was soft on her, light on her, wasn't as heavy handed. And at times I probably should have been, but I wasn't. Yeah, you know who I allowed to be the heavy hand? Her mother. Thank goodness we was able to have a cordial and respectful relationship. That really helped a lot. And her methods of discipline was pretty much on the same level. Those was when I tell you people have to have tough conversations, those are some of the tough conversations. Even when I was young, I still had the wherewithal to know, hey, I believe in spankings. And so my daughter's mother, I do too. I understand. We're the area we came up in. Okay. So we knew how to discipline her. So even when we feel like, she's too old to have spankings, how we punish. Now, my daughter tell you, I punish her different than our stepdaughter. Stepdaughter will both get the same punch initially. But 2 days later, that punishment is done. After 2 days, while my daughter's still going on a month in without no phone. My daughter was very vocal. She's like me. She don't have no problem with telling you how she feels. We are similar in a lot of ways. And so she has no problem with sharing how she feels. And like I said, she's like me. She doesn't care how it comes out sometimes. So do I have a checker a lot with that? Yeah. Watch your tone, girl. Watch your goddamn mouth. So, seeing you are correct. I say, yeah, it was. She just called me Sunday. Yes, my daughter called me Sunday. Her and my grandbaby called me, wished me a happy birthday as well as Father's Day. Happy Father's Day on Sunday. It was beautiful for her, and I always make sure I tell my grandbaby how beautiful she is, how pretty she looks, to really pour into her, to really encourage her because she needs that. You know how I learned all that? From my daughter. My daughter taught me that that's what I need to do. Now I heard other people say it, but I was forced to do that because I had a daughter, and make sure I speak words of encouragement and really speak highly. Now my son, I didn't do it a lot. I ain't gonna lie. He didn't get all that. Man, son, you're handsome. You're handsome. I didn't do all that. I said, boy, take your ass on in there. It might follow up with a goddamn elbow to the goddamn throat. I shared a story with one of my coworkers. I remember that time that boy bucked back. I remember that time I said, I heard him on the phone. I ain't scared of my daddy. His girlfriend said, you better listen to your dad before he get you. Your daddy big. I ain't scared of my daddy. And I heard him. I'm fighting. I said, oh. Hang that goddamn phone up. Let's go outside. And we went outside. I said, you ain't scared? You won't fight? Yeah, I'll fight. I ain't scared. Okay, cool. I said, let's go. I said, don't hit no, we ain't hitting in the face. I said, because your yellow ass gonna show up all in your face. I said, everywhere else is fair game. So we went for them shoulders. He had to get this hard lessons. He had to get these goddamn hands. Now my old ass was too old to be out there fighting. He was a sophomore in high school, had a good freshman year, feeling himself. You know what I'm saying? Made first team, all second team. Made second team, all six region. That's the region he was in as far as high school basketball. He's feeling himself. Feeling himself. So I said, okay, come on. Let's get some of the smoke. Didn't last long. Couple hits to the goddamn chest. He light skinned. He actually got hit in the face. With him, you just try to hold your punches. I didn't try to give him the full blows, but I tapped his ass a couple of goddamn times. I tore his arms and chest up. I told y'all he's light skinned. Y'all seen him. He light skinned. He gonna show. But let me say this. That was the last time he ever did that. That's the last time we ever had to run in. 15 years old was the last time. Was the only time. Well, I ain't gonna say it was the only time I actually took him outside, and again, I had to, snatch him up because he's talking back to his mama. He know I don't play that shit. He know I don't play that shit. I told him, boy, it's your mama. You only got one goddamn mama. That's your mama. Don't disrespect her. Don't disrespect that's me, but you definitely don't, because at the end of the day, your mama gonna stick by you, right, wrong, or indifferent. You could do the dumbest, stupidest shit. You could be like OJ, guilty of killing that beautiful snow bunny and that white man. But guess who stood by him the whole way to the day she passed? His goddamn mama. So you better love your mama. Treat her with respect. Even though she ain't always right, she don't always do things right, but she still love you. She'll be there for you. Love your mama. Don't disrespect. So I had to damn near put his ass to a goddamn wall. I don't play that shit. But that was the one time, but then the second and last time, I actually had to touch him. I had to put my hand, I had to whoop his goddamn ass. That was it. That was it. Now, don't y'all go calling CPS revisionist history. Don't do that on me. Y'all do some crazy shit. But that was it. That was it. And he know I didn't play. He knew it. And he had to feel it. Unfortunately. I remember I told him, I said, hey, I said, yeah, I got a little shiner. Tell that happened in practice. So he told his mama. She looked at him, what's wrong with your eye? He said, oh, it happened in basketball practice. 2 weeks later, I told her the truth. I said, me and him had to go toe to toe. I told him. He told me you happened in practice. I said, nah, I didn't. I told him to tell you that. So I ended up telling the truth what really happened. But that's just the way I handled him. Like I said, my daughter always said, well, you don't treat, little Hank like that like you do me. I said, baby girl, let me tell you this. I said, you had to split the chores with you and your stepsister. I said, Trent got to do all this shit himself. I had y'all cut the grass one time. He has to cut the grass every goddamn week. When it snows, he has to shovel. I threw the salt down. When them leaves needed to be raked, guess who was out there raking them? Him. Now, his mama went out there to help him, but she did that just for the exercise. But guess who was out there? She only did the front. She didn't do the back. That back was too goddamn big. That was all him. So explain to me how he had it easy to you. Why? Because you think about the material stuff that he got. Oh, okay. Well, now that's true. Did he get more material stuff than y'all? Yeah, he did. But let me tell you what he also had. Better grades than y'all little Negro women. His grades were better. He took care of business. He in an extracurricular activity that warranted for him to get new shoes other than his school shoes and all the other stuff. He got to go certain places y'all did. Well, because he was in extracurricular activity. So every summer we dedicated to him. We had an AAU fund. Money just went into account just for his AAU. We pay for travel out of that account. We pay for his uniforms. We pay for his fees. Any travel expense. I got to do all that. Why? Because he did it. Now y'all had every option to do extracurricular activity. Y'all chose not to. Y'all didn't get the benefits of traveling like that because y'all chose not to do any activities like that that weren't for travel. He did. So yes, he got to do certain things. Yes, he did. But please believe me, he made certain sacrifices. He didn't get to hang out with his friends like y'all did. His summers was hemmed up with basketball, AAU basketball, summer league practice, traveling. All that he didn't get to hang out. Only people he hung out with was his teammates. He didn't get to hang out with his cousins like y'all did. Them birthday parties, I could tell you many times he missed hanging out with his cousins at a birthday party. I go into certain family unions, family together. And I had to tell my ex-wife, I said, don't be mad if he rather hang out with and do basketball stuff than hang out with us. I said, I understand. I know what's going on because he loves the game. And he loves the game that affords him an activity that he does. Still doing it now. He in college now. I told him, you're not going to see him on a regular basis. He's not going to be coming up hanging out with you. Don't be looking for him to do certain things for you. I think you need to talk to your daughter because he's not his niece's babysitter. She don't need to do like he got things he can do. He can't be at a beck and call, and he can't do that. He's got a life. He's gonna want to hang out with his friends. He went canoeing. I ain't never took him canoeing because it wasn't something I was into. I took him camping. I took him fishing. He got to do all of that. He got to do all of that with his friends and teammates. They turn him on to expose him to certain things. I just tell him be safe. Watch your surroundings. Make sure we know who you hang around and who it with. And he would text us, going with such and such teammate. We going here, going there. Went to a football game. Couple in IU football games. That's just this past season. IU had a great football season. He got to experience all that. Why? Because his teammate's dad is an IU alumni. He got to experience all that. And I told him I want him to experience all of that That was a great experience. Y'all didn't get the experience because y'all didn't get to involve yourself in those activities. You want to hang out with your ratchet cousins who I didn't like, but they was your family, so it's, you know, it is what it is. You wanted to do this, do that. You know, you didn't want to do these activities, but it could afford you to do certain things, but you didn't want to do that. You didn't. With that being said, let's keep going. Lonnie said, teaching our children is rough sometimes. This is a fact. I think she was holding that against me for a long time. I assume that's what you mean. She was 16 years old then. Guys, do me a solid. I need for y'all to do me a solid, and y'all hit that like button for your boy. Yes. Push that goddamn like button. Push that goddamn like button. Let's get back to the video.
That it broke my heart that he did what he did, but it does not still take away from the fact that how I communicated to my son was wrong. And I think that I think that as fathers, there's some things that we have to learn that we will have to live with lips. We're not gonna be fixed from everything. Everything ain't gonna be well. Everything ain't gonna be whole. There's some relationships that you gotta walk and it's gonna be limps, and you know what you gotta do? You gotta win wounded.
You gotta win wounded?
You gotta win wounded. You gotta drag your ass across the finish line, blood dripping, leg broke, and you gotta win wounded. But here's the beautiful thing though. The beautiful thing is that when you do your best, God has this dope way of taking them seeds that you plant, and we may not live to see them. We may be gone. But someday, some way, God gonna water them seeds. And the little things that you try to do right, they gonna flourish. Because see, we sometimes want the glory, but instead of always wanting the glory as a parent, let's make sure that we just do enough so that they live the life. If they live the life, then our legacy will continue to live through them.
Bro, that's deep. It got me a little emotional because after speaking to my dad, like I'm trying to walk with my sons. But it'd be hard though, bro. And I'm gonna tell you why. It goes back to a question you asked earlier. You was like, how do you feel sometimes as a man? Do you feel like you get just due? No, I'm gonna be honest. I be in my house all day. I cook, I clean, I do schoolwork, I take him to track practice, I do everything. Like when it comes to that fatherhood shit, I do everything. And you know what's the first thing people say? You know, how Kadena, she need a break. She got all them boys. And you know, my wife does her fair share. There is no she does more, I do more, we both do. But when you asked about how we feel as fathers, I honestly don't feel like fathers get enough just due. Because I'm just as guilty, yo.
Let's talk about that.
My father was there. And the minute I got an opportunity, I thank my mom for everything. And I thank my mom and everything in part because my father was the one holding me accountable. So during the time, it was, and I'm just being honest, it was almost like I'm not even going to thank him. And I didn't realize how that could be coming across to him.
I feel that way often. It's because my wife is such an amazing mother.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like when you be busting your butt, hopping these planes, and you know what I'm saying, you tired, but you gotta go make that check. You gotta, like all my kids graduated college with no bills. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm gonna take care of everything. But a lot of times it does feel like, like yours is that, oh, thank you, but mama. And I want to know how y'all feel about that.
I'm dealing with that right now with my daughter. Like, I'm on the road. First of all, I live in Atlanta, right? My daughter lives in New York. I'm in New York probably twice a month, outside of work. You see what I'm saying? I gotta travel. I just was in Green Bay for the draft. As soon as the draft ended, I tell them, I fly me to New York, I gotta pull up on my baby, right? When I go there, I make home in that city in New York. Hotel room, we do all the things. I'm taking her to school, whatever. I'm busting my ass to get through these planes to you to make sure that you know daddy's present. And some days, sometimes, I'm not getting that credit. You know what I'm saying? It's still not enough. Well, even from, me and her mother, we on good terms, but sometimes it's like, oh, but yeah, that was cool, Lou, but can you sit in this? I'm gonna do that, because as a man, I'm gonna make sure everything's good. But sometimes it don't hurt to just be like,
well, let me ask
going good.
Who you want credit from?
My daughter.
That's who I want credit from.
I don't care.
That's
I don't care
the
about
thing
anybody
that
else.
bothers me, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get it. Sometimes,
You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes
And I got good kids. Now, mind you, don't get me wrong, my kids are wonderful. But it is interesting that we're all talking about, sometimes it feel like that they kind of detour around us.
Yeah, because you're supposed to as a man.
I mean,
as
but
a father, you're
I feel like
supposed to.
we all done it. Like, 'cause I even done it. Like, my mom, like my daddy stayed in the hood too, but my mom stayed in Adderville, my daddy stayed in Bankhead. I always thought my daddy was a little bit better because maybe my daddy was a little bit more financial, stable than my mother. But if I ever got mad over here, I'm gonna go to my dad's house. But I know I ain't gonna be over that long because I gonna last over here for 2-3 days.
It's gonna get
I'm
the
only
same.
coming over here to get this satisfaction.
Right,
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a better living.
Absolutely.
I'm going back over here where I can do what I want.
Wow.
Because even though it's a better living over here, it's like I'm in here by myself. And it's not saying that he's not watching me. This is just the way that he handled his business. I sat right there and watched him. Now that I'm grown, I'm like, my daddy had a life. He had a purpose. I was just so happen to be his child.
Wow.
That's deep too, though, because a lot of people don't realize that.
Wow.
As a father, I do have a whole.
You
other
got a
thing that
whole
I
purpose.
I feel that's
Hold on.
I was just so happy to be his child.
You know how?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. That's
That's deep.
That's good.
That is good.
You know, as a matter of fact, let me ask you this then. With that, let's talk about the other woman in our lives.
As far as,
Here it comes. Hold on, Lou. Hold on to yourself, Lou. Here it comes.
you got me nervous.
You ready, Lou? Huh? Because all 5 of us, all 5, married or single, we still got this issue with this other woman. She got our heart. She got our attention. She got our focus.
I know where you're going.
And she can be a nemesis to them kids, to that other woman. I mean, and it's like, and we love her. My God, we love her, my boy. How do we deal with that love of career? Our calling, our gift, that thing that keep us up at night, that thing that pulls us away from them at times.
It's a purpose. It's once you understand your purpose, then you have to understand peace within self.
But what about the fact that the kids don't always understand?
No, it comes again to like what I just said. I was already born. My life was written already. Your life is written. I don't know what's in store for you, a part of this lineage, but the God I serve, I know you're gonna be taken care of. So we have to be more attentive when it comes to fathers. So if we think something is missing, we step in. It's a lot of things we may want, we're not required to get
From
anybody.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
and we have to be appreciative when we do get
Of whatever we get.
for whatever we get. You see
Wow.
what I'm saying? So whatever that we're missing,
So you're saying that there's a real scarcity when it comes to being a daddy.
when it comes to being a father,
Yeah.
man of the household,
Yeah.
it comes with all of that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Now,
It just comes with it.
were you saying that woman, that career?
He's saying like he gave it a name, but
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but
I call it I call it the other woman.
can talk about that.
Because I say that.
And you understand what I mean?
I understand exactly what you mean.
'Cause I look at her, the career, she my main. She
Woo.
is, because
But when you married, it could be problematic.
Never be my man.
But one thing you gotta do is you gotta understand what the purpose is. See, God gonna allow you to have time to figure out your purpose. And once you figure out your purpose, now you gotta fit your purpose into your schedule, but make it your main goal.
I think.
But don't make it your main, like it's over your family.
No.
'Cause sometimes we might have to not go do our purpose because our family needs
But
us.
see, I'm gonna say this: it was a dude in the streets. I ain't gonna say his name. I don't know if I'm supposed to say his name, but I was hustling. You know, I was coming up like 18, 19. He was like 26.
don't say it.
He's a big dog. You know what I'm saying? He
What was
told me
your
that.
hustle? What was your hustle back then?
Well, I put it in the book. I was selling a white girl. You know what I'm saying? You know, selling cocaine. You know what I'm saying? So he always told me, this worked in the streets and I applied it here.
Right.
He say, whatever move you make in the streets, I always think about your kid first when you going to bust a lick. He said, and you'll move different.
Facts.
And he told me that, and I feel like that kept me out of prison because I would never, that's what I never smoke a drink. I want the police pull up my car. I'm gonna wear this. And I think when doing the career, when I do my career and I leave the house, I be like, I better go be since I got to do this, I better go be the baddest joke on the land. I'm not playing with this because if I do this right, it allowed me to be home. Like when I was doing skits on Facebook and stuff, I wasn't doing them just to make money. I was doing it just so I could build it to where now I can be home all the time.
Yes.
So it's like if you leave that house, I feel like you can't be playing with your career because you're really playing with your kids' time.
So now he's in a situation where he's putting his first love into his schedule.
Yeah.
I got time.
What is his
for
first
you.
love? What is his first
But
love?
that's what I'm saying. His career. So it's like I got time for you because I done put in the work. I done been with you enough to be like, all right.
Cause my daddy,
now I can fit you.
My daddy used to be like,
Let me say this. So I know when I was working them seven jobs, them 3 jobs. The one thing I had to make sure I had to do is the weekends I had my daughter working them extra jobs on weekends. Now, fortunately for me, the Home Depot was like 3 days a week. I did it like on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is what I did those on. One, I didn't do it Mondays because I wanted to miss no football. Didn't do it on Saturdays because I didn't want to miss no football. And Sunday we wasn't doing it at all. So I kind of scheduled around football seasons. So I made sure my weekends was open. Not only that, because I was still doing the bartending. And so, but on my bartending, the weekends I had my daughter, I didn't do no bartending. Home Depot would call me, ask me if I wanted extra hours on my weekend. I had them. No, I can't do it. And of course, my first job, my primary job, teaching, worked with that because it worked with I was on the school schedule, so that was all on the same schedule, so it wasn't a problem. But I could tell you many times I turned down the extra dollars because of my visitation schedule, and didn't want to mess that up. Didn't want to interfere because I didn't want my daughter to feel like she was cheated or just sitting in my house, or with my ex-wife I wasn't married. I think a girlfriend at the time. Didn't want her to just be there with her and me not being involved. That wasn't gonna work. Not for me. Now, maybe somebody else they would do it. I couldn't see myself doing it, and I didn't. So I had to make sure I scheduled around those situations because I wanted to be present. I want to be there. I didn't get it that much. I got it like one day during the week and every other weekend. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to cheat on the days that I had her and miss out on. So like I had her on Wednesday, not on Wednesday, on the Tuesdays, was my week to get like my 1 day a week to get her. So I make sure I did that and make sure my schedule would fit that. But in order to do it, I miss out on some money, extra money, extra opportunity. But it was well worth it at the end because I had to look at the big picture. And that's the most important. And like these guys saying, sometimes, certain sacrifices needed, you got to do it. Now, thing with Devale, he had a wife, so he had, somebody there with him that, that knew the child and that their biological mother. That's a beautiful thing. I didn't have that. I didn't have that. So since I didn't have that, I didn't have somebody I could rely on to reinforce. Now, a girlfriend told her, when I was working a lot, and she would say something about me working and why can't I be over more. She would kind of explain to her. I would explain to her. But she was giving it from a female point of view compared to me giving it as from a daddy's point of view. Our daddy's just saying it because he wanted to continue working and make money. Now, it wasn't that. But at the same time, I have obligations I got to fulfill. I got to make sure I meet that child support debt. I didn't want to be locked up. So I had to make sure I did that. I had to make sure I kept my apartment. I had to make sure that I had a vehicle, pay for insurance. Because there was times I was riding dirty with no insurance. With my tax expired and didn't want to go because I didn't want to spend that money to pay the tax and the registration. I did that shit too, and nah. So I had obligations I had to make sure I meet at the same time. I make sure I had to make time for her. These are the things I had to deal with early on in life. You know, so one of the things you got to make sure you communicate with your kids, let them know what's going on, what's what. Why are you doing these things? Why you got to do these things? Well, baby, I want to have a house. I don't want to continue to live in an apartment. I want to have a house to call our own so we can live in this house and we can have some more space and we not all on top of each other. I don't want that for y'all guys. I mean, I didn't want it for me and her at the time. I didn't want that. I wanted better. In order to get better, I got to raise some money. I had to work some extra hours. But I still make sure that I had that quality time for you. My man Lon said, my daughter and I gone fishing, riding go-karts, movies. We always was doing something. That's the key. That's the key. Said, I showed my daughter how to cook. He said, I showed my daughter how to burn. Let's keep going, guys. Let's keep going.
I'm busy, but you can't be taking no girl out of time while you hustling, playing. Cause now you playing with my time. You better bring it back for real. If you got a car, you better have me some money put up. Cause now you playing with my time, so when I move, I think about my kids. I'm like, I'm out here on their time.
So do your people, do your kids, do your significant other, is it something that you see is just an easy flow for you?
No.
Okay.
I don't expect.
There's tension.
I don't expect.
Yes.
I don't expect. I know how I would do them if they were in my shoes. I would be understanding. I would see the bigger picture. I know that everybody's not gonna see it from my point of view. So I'm all right. I'm already cool with that. I done talked to God. I know He got me. I'm covered. I got this armor. And then my purpose is my gift. So not only am I able to provide for my child and also spend time, but I'm also able to help others if they dealing with something.
Yeah, but y'all still been a little too nice for me though.
I'm waiting. I'm letting for them to speak.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? You're not married. You're not married. You're not married. I'm on everything, bro.
Me and you are married.
Me and you are married, bro. There's days, and this is why it's so hard for me. I don't feel like I ever have enough time.
Yes.
And even for my son, bro,
Yes.
I made every football game for my oldest son, but I missed his banquet. And you know what he said to my wife?
Right.
This is why I'll never be an actor. You just miss so much stuff.
See.
My son is the oldest, and he's the one who will say to me that I know you out there grinding. But it don't change the fact that it hurts him.
Fact.
Yeah.
And I want to be, this is a fact, I want to be the biggest star in the world. I want to, right?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do. But I know what that requires.
Yeah.
That requires that I'm away
Yes.
a lot, right?
Yes.
And now I'm in a situation where I can make a lot of money doing something that'll give me the autonomy to be with my family. But that's not what I want to do. And that's what I'm struggling with. Like, that's why sometimes I be so heavy, because I'm like, yo, I'm doing this. I don't want to do this.
So you can, and see, respectfully, he gets me more because there is a reality that when you live with someone every day,
Yes.
and you're in a house with these images of you, and this person that is looking for you to not only be there for them, but to also keep the lights on, keep a certain lifestyle going for everybody, there's a tension. And I can understand now why they have such an ease in how they talk.
So
What's the tension?
I'm gonna tell you the
If
tension.
y'all in the house, like, because I'm like, okay, I want to be married, right? I'm listening to two married men, successful married men, right? And y'all telling me, y'all in the house, y'all can walk down the steps, see the family, and still feel like I'm not here enough?
You want to know?
Yes.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
I'm gonna tell you right now why. we live in an age where women too are not just wanting to be homemakers. My wife has her own career. So you know how I got my side chick that's my career? My wife got a side chick that's her career. My wife just booked her first series regular role after having 4 of my kids. Right. So now it's the time where Devale got to be supportive. I got to step back. So now she has to go film. So when she has to go film, who has to step in and do all the things at home when she's gone? I do, but guess what? Devale writing a book, Devale doing a podcast, Devale writing scripts, Devale still also has to film. So while I was doing that and she got to just be a stay-at-home mom, Devale never got a chance to be just a stay-at-home dad because the lights turn off if I'm not being myself out here. So now I got to balance and be myself out here but be supportive to this woman. And that's not easy.
And
that's
it's a
the
tension
balance.
that you've never dealt with before.
Ever, bro.
And it's a monster. Here's what we're saying is that, man, is that, see, the reason why you're great at what you do, the reason why you kill what you do, et cetera, is because we got this thing in us that is this doggone ambition. And to be great, you gotta be a dog. You gotta be a dog to go get it. And the fact that we black. So it's like you can't play no games with that. And what happens is that, unfortunately, it's the tension of something is going. I give you a prime example. This oldest son that I have. When I was 29 years old, I got this opportunity to move to Los Angeles. Well, I have him by another young lady. So by this time, me and Tammy got 3 kids. Well, by this time, me and Tammy got 3 kids together. I have the son by this other young lady. If I move out of Texas, he gonna be stuck in Texas.
Right.
I had to make the decision, DC, to not take that bag. Because it was a nice bag. It was a nice bag to be in Cali. I was gonna move to LA, and I had to say no to it because I could not allow for that boy to wake up and his family is now.
Okay.
Now can I cut you off real quick?
Do you ever have regrets from that decision or no?
I was about to answer that too. I know that bothers you. The fact that it bothers you that you had to leave that bag is okay, bro. I want to tell you that it's okay.
No, feel me. I'm dope with that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, I think that I wish that we had more conversation.
About what if, that's what I'm saying. Because the way you felt is if you get married or y'all get married, there's gonna be a lot of days where you feel like, I really wanted to do that. And not that you upset at your family.
Yes.
Because you're not upset at your family.
No.
But you like, I really wanted that. That could have been good for my career, but I know what my family needs.
Yes.
And I need to take this moment. Cause I ain't gonna lie to y'all brothers, man. I've been heavy with that right now. Like that's why I feel like this is divine.
We appreciate your vulnerability.
I haven't been able to talk to anybody about this. Cause here's another thing. My level of success when it comes to all of my friends is not ever equal, right? So if I talk about the things I'm going through, the first thing they think is you make money. The fact that you want it don't matter. It's not always about money. My level of success is not defined by how much money I make. I want to be great at what I do and be recognized for it at the highest level. Right. All of y'all do the same thing. Right. You see what I'm saying? So y'all know that. Like it's that. When you have that type of ambition, it is so hard to balance a family. And sometimes I feel guilty because I'm like, damn, I couldn't take that job because of my family. Now I'm in my house and I'm feeling guilty. And I'm like, just like you said, you got everything. I got a beautiful wife who gave me 4 children. All my sons are brilliant and they athletic and they all around me. Daddy's home. And sometimes I be in the house like, just wanted to do that indie film and I'm not gonna make no money because I know that's an opportunity to show people my gift, but I can't tell my wife that I'm gonna go take this indie project.
And you can't take it out on them boys.
You see what I'm saying? That's what fathers go through sometimes.
Now does that make a little more sense of what we were trying to say a minute ago?
Yeah, I understand. No, I understand.
I just never listened to him. I did what I get what y'all saying though, but I ain't never give him a chance. Cause like it's coming from, I don't know if it come from poverty. I'm like, bro, I'm going to do this. Because I know, if you don't know how important this is, I ain't got time to explain to you. But I just know that would have made my family life better.
Okay, so for me, when it comes to like taking a gig or not taking a gig, playing, you played in the league, right?
Yeah.
So you can relate to what I'm about to say. As an undrafted guy, you got to be a dog.
Yeah.
There is no red carpet.
Yeah.
The draft picks.
Not in the NFL.
Then you see them walk, damn, I can't go in that room. No.
No, seriously.
Just wait.
Seriously.
They gotta get their stuff first.
There you go, you wait.
Right? So it's like, okay, cool. So in the back of my head, even with this career, I done took them lessons.
Yeah.
It's a trigger.
Yeah.
So it's like, Like I got to be on it, and if it's on brand, I'm taking it, and I ain't leaving no crumbs on the table. I'm taking this for my family, my daughters, and we're gonna be good.
You know how fleeting it is.
And I know, you know why I don't? Because I know how it is for somebody to take some food off my plate.
Wow.
I held my daughter when she was a baby. They cut me. I held her. She came out the womb. The next day they cut me. Literally cut me.
Jeez. I'm
holding her. Don't know where the next check coming in. All I had was one game check at that time. They cut me. I'm holding her. But I still had to show, they don't even know that. Her mama's on the bed, you know, you know, you've been in the delivery room.
Let me say something. Now, you have been very successful in your career, right? And you've had a long space where we have seen you rise and your celebrity, your influence. Right. And then we also saw you deal publicly with this loss, right? How were you able to balance, still getting on stage, be funny, do what you needed to do, but still bring a level of vulnerability and sensitivity and compassion to?
Guys, I want y'all to do me a favor and really pay attention to this part. Before I go back to the video, I need for y'all to do me a favor and make sure y'all hit that like button.
Push the goddamn button.
Make sure y'all hit that like button, guys. I don't ask for a lot of, I'm not going to sit there and beg you and ask you for super chats or cash app or nothing like it. But one thing I do ask for is for you to hit the like button. I appreciate it. And just stay engaged. If you're here watching, just watching, you know, put some in the comment. Let me know you're here. Let me know who, give me a roll call. Let me know where you're at. Where you from? Where you call it? Where you know, radio, where you calling from? So you ain't got to tell me where you from, but just let me know you engaged and you hit that like button. Do me a solid and make sure you hit that button. Hit that like button, guys. But I really want y'all to pay attention to this point right here. You know what I'm saying? I pay attention because right here, I think this really, as a man who's married, really sums it up on some of the things, guys, that we have to deal with. This is deep. What DC Young was about to say. I watched it and I seen it. Well, I remember seeing a little clip on it. I said, man, let me go back and watch it. I mean, maybe I missed it, overlooked at what he was saying, but it was deep. So, guys, I want y'all to definitely make sure y'all pay attention to this part right here.
Do your seeds like that at the same time.
That was tough, bro.
To understand your purpose and understand the lane that God has placed upon me. When it comes to Renaissance, we draw from emotion. So I don't have a therapist. God is my therapist. But he's willing to place me amongst people who's willing to listen to my emotions. And not only listen to my emotions, can learn from my emotions, but I'm able to express myself in a way of art where I also need it too. Because this is the only place where I feel safe.
Hold up. You talking to a table full of creators.
Yeah, on stage.
Bro, you just lit this table up because that's what we all can say amen to that. It's the
That is real.
It's the only, in the midst of having beautiful wife,
That's real.
beautiful kids, if we're vulnerable and transparent and honest, even though we love them, there is something about being in what we were created to do, that it is a thing that lights us and makes us feel more alive and safe than anything ever could.
You know what's crazy though? You're not allowed to say that sometimes.
But
as a man.
But we just said it.
Yeah,
But
We just said it.
when it
We
say,
just said
when
it.
it say, but even when it say to feel safe,
We just said it.
but even when it say to feel safe, I feel safe enough to understand my position and to understand that even what I'm going through, God placed me in an environment where he like, let go, unleash. You may want to cry, but make this character cry, but cry with laughter. Make this person come to life.
They don't know where this person just came from. So the laughter.
How'd you know to do that? Were you taught that, or was it just natural?
When you come to theater, you know you have to draw from emotion.
Yeah.
But when you get on stage, see, people don't understand. I want to say, last year, I had to get on stage Mother's Day in Orlando. I was about to have a moment right before I get on stage, and we don't know when these moments come. So that's why I'm so thankful when I go on stage, because I'm like, I ain't have a moment today. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, appreciate it. Let me just be mental enough to go out here and be in a safe space. Like,
you just don't want to have that.
I don't want to break down. I don't want nobody to piss me off today. Like, I just want to, thank you for keeping me in a safe space. And I felt myself like it was coming, and I'm like, not right now. Man, he about to call my name. I'm like, no, not right now, dog. And when he said my name, everybody know I do my little shake. I had to shake the emotion. So niggas don't know in Orlando, when I'm on stage, I'm shaking this emotion off of me. Cause I know I got to go to work, but I'm human.
Yes.
So before I even say my first words, I'm John Whitfield. They don't know that. The moment I said, how y'all doing? I'm like, oh God, you got me.
Wow.
Cause I didn't even know in my first 2-3 minutes for me to be up here crying and you know what I'm saying? I'm just like, God damn, that was quick.
Wow.
So that's how I know, like, when I'm about to get into this atmosphere, this environment, I know God gonna take care of me. I don't even be knowing what you done been in your moments before on stage. That ain't Kirk.
At all. At all.
That's the spirit that's in Kirk.
At all.
That's making you handle your business with.
Amen.
Now it resonates with the people. Now the people is looking at that. We need that same energy. So whatever you seeing and you feeling, I know for a fact, I'm showing it. I just don't even know what it is.
Wow. And that's what makes you so good.
You see what I'm saying? I'm like, what is it?
And that's what makes you so good at, and that's the confirmation that you called to do it. And so with that, man, with that, and just being called to still be a parent, what is the thing that you may have even seen yourself do that when you look back on it, you may have a little bit of like, man, that was one of the most dumbest or goofiest things I've ever done. Have you had some
I got it. The same thing. Like, bro,
have you had some moments that you've had to laugh at yourself?
As a parent or just
Every mistake before all this happened.
mistakes still make. Bro.
I mean,
But no, man. But like, give us something that you've had to, just
as a father, just as a person. Period.
Both.
I'll tell you one as a father that I learned. I used to be real tough on my oldest son, Jackson. Because I'm playing in the NFL, you know how it is. You got a son, everybody assumes that my son gonna be the best, you know what I'm saying? And my father was, and here's the funny part, my father wasn't like that. My father was an athlete. I said I want to play football. He said, go ahead, have fun. I want to play basketball. Go ahead, have fun. Came to the games he could, supported me, but he was never like, we gotta do this. And I felt free to be that athlete. But then I became a dad and I got an athlete. So now I wake up 6 in the morning, we working out, we doing this. He playing games, I'm screaming and hollering, cussing, doing everything. And I'm watching him come off the court every game and he's got his head down. And I'm like, what's your problem, your demeanor? You know, his attitude, his demeanor. He just looked at me. He just looked at me, he was just like, man, this ain't even fun no more. And I was like, oh, Devale, you really messing up, bro. like I had to really look at myself and be like, yo, you really are messing up as a dad. Like, I legit felt that way because I had other dads around me. And sometimes you need other dads to check you, right? After the game, come screaming, hollering, and they coming by and they just like, take it easy, big guy.
Oh.
And after a while,
Oh, that'll piss me off.
bro.
Yeah.
DC, when I tell you,
It's your time, nigga.
Man.
The first thing I said
And they walking
to
back
one,
with that picnic chair and shit.
Yo.
Man, get back up off me, dude.
I was like, man, you talk like that to your son, not my son. But then I seen they sons was whooping my son ass. So I'm like, I can't even say that because your son is nice.
Yeah.
So then you know what I did? I stopped letting my ego get in the way of me being a father and stopped thinking that I knew everything. I started asking questions. You know what I'm saying?
Aggression is not correction.
Come on, DC.
Say it again.
Say it again, bro.
Aggression is not correction.
The fuck you
And I'm gonna tell you something. Hold on.
You right though.
But,
I'm about to like.
but I got to be honest with you. I have failed at that a lot. I have failed at that a lot. You take that old school mentality of how the old generation would cuss you out.
And to this day, right, like at your age now, like not, as a younger father or right now, you still.
Well, even as an older one, if you hit the wrong buttons, I struggle. Yes, I struggle, and I'm not proud of that.
But it works best. It works when you utilize it the right way. The old teaching does work when it comes to
I agree
want you
with
to be
that.
great.
I agree with
because
that.
I don't want you to be out here and there's different agendas that grab you.
I agree with that.
But as us, comes to again when this is what I want to say too about the women, why they gravitate to the women. Men are not nurturers.
No, we not.
Our children supposed to gravitate to you supposed to gravitate. I'm supposed to learn how to make you gravitate to me like that. I'm not no nurturer.
So how can we be better nurturers?
We gotta learn how to be more soft in the household.
Or soft with the tone.
I think
You know what I'm saying?
I
I don't want to say soft, but when I just say soft, it's just saying learning as a man, we learn how to speak to our wife. As a man, learn how to speak to our children. Learn how to speak to, and this is not I learned. This ain't no nigga on the street.
No, but see, but I learned, but
I have failed at that.
We all have. We all.
I think everybody can't get the same treatment of verbiage. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm realizing like that's where it was a Navy SEAL or something I met. I was playing with the Cardinals. He said, CYB. Check your baggage. Check your baggage at the door.
I love it.
So
I love it.
If somebody done wrong, my temperament is different.
Yeah.
If they done did something outside, when I come inside to my daughter, and that's what I said one mistake I made. She might have been like four. Like I'm at my nana house, I'm dealing with, there was a call and she said, she didn't even do nothing. But I said, man, I don't know. My voice got loud and my nana came out, God rest her soul. She came out of her room, her little, you know them picnic robes. She came out and she said, you sound like your dad. That ain't it.
Yeah.
That ain't it. She said, no. She said, that ain't it. She said, get your ass up, you better go back in there.
Wow. Do y'all whoop y'all? Do anybody here whoop their kid?
No. I just plucked that ear. That's it.
I don't whoop. I discipline with understanding.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not whooping you. I want you to know why you're getting a whooping. I whooped my daughter one time. I want you to know why I'm whooping you. Tell me. Don't just say I'm whooping you. I want you to know, whoop, 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 whoop. This was inappropriate, whoop, whoop, whoop. Now we're gonna repeat it, say it again. Because if I whoop you again and you're saying this again, that means it's a habit.
I told my sister this. I say, if grown people don't listen, what make think our kids gonna listen?
That's why I whip my kids.
We
They didn't say just whoop on them. I'm saying whoop with understanding.
No, what I'm saying, I whoop mine.
Get out. Sit out.
I was just like, I whooped mine, and my baby mama used to say, when the mothers of my kids, and then in the end, I used to tell all of them, I said, when them children get older, they gonna come to me because I kept it real with them. And when they got older, I can't get my kids to leave my house. All their friends, I be gone. Most of my children gonna be at their daddy's house because I kept it real with them. My 3-year-old told her mama, she said, I don't got to listen to nobody about my daddy. I say, cause you try to be a friend. I'm gonna bring up that, you know when you about to tell somebody something, but you don't want to say it, but you get that little sweat coming, but you about to say something real like that ain't it, dog.
I'll say this though, I'm not against whoopings because I used to get whooped toe up, right?
Yeah.
My grandmother told me, I was like, I was 13. I was like, yo, why you beat us? You beat us if I spill milk, if I drop something, why you beat us? He said, she said, let me explain something to you. I grew up in the Confederate South, right? If you look at someone the wrong way, you too loud, your little ass will be up on that tree hanging and won't nobody care.
Yikes.
Right? That's what my grandmother told me. Della Mae Perry Ellis, right? From South Carolina. Della Mae Perry Ellis.
Facts.
And my grandmother didn't curse. So when she cussed, I knew she was serious.
Yeah.
She said, my job was to get you to your parents safely. My job ain't to be your friend. I don't care if you like me. My job is to make sure that you grow up and you can be exactly who you need to be. You know what I saw in her when she said that? I saw pain. Wow. That means you grew up that way and you didn't know any other way to discipline me. That's why you did it. So I appreciated the fact that you were trying your hardest to discipline me. But I will challenge you with this, because I tried to challenge her with this and she whooped me. I said, Nana, When something happens to us by police, the first thing y'all always say is why we gotta resort to violence. Why couldn't you talk to them?
Yeah.
So it's like, why you can't talk to kids? Why would you resort to violence on your kids? And then say, why do other people resort to violence on our kids?
Yeah.
I can't justify one and then say to the other one is wrong. Yeah. So for me, I stopped putting my hands on my kids, so I'm gonna speak to my kids unless, because there's always an exception. If one of my kids is being violent to another child, which I haven't had, or one of my kids is putting themselves in danger where they can really hurt themselves and the only way they're gonna stop is from me stopping them, I'll do that.
Yeah. But I also had to learn that I can't discipline all 4 of my kids the same way.
That is a fact too.
I had to learn that. I had to learn that it was tough, and I had to sometimes kind of put that heat on him. But then,
I should have said that part. I said beat on the camera.
Yeah.
I don't beat it no more.
But then
Put a little heat on.
But then when I would take that same energy maybe to the next one, the next one is like, bro, I'm not that one.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah. And
tell me,
And so I had to learn that, and that's what I love very much about listening to y'all. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm not gonna even cap. I was not prepared to receive as much wisdom and knowledge from you 4. Like you 4 came to the table, and it's like y'all brought like meals to the table. Like I'm so impressed.
A comedian's really coming from pain.
I was gonna say the same thing. When I tell you,
you do know. Watch.
I was gonna say,
you do know that I brought like an extra pair of drawers because I thought I was gonna be laughing and crying so hard at this episode that I thought I was gonna shard on myself or something.
But I will say,
First of all, you need to go get that check. I'm gonna just say that.
Comedians coming from pain, but we got a job to do. We know everybody else going through pain. We like, everybody got enough.
Get that check.
So we got pain, we just use our humor to cover up the pain. We so used to being the Band-Aid.
But you know, I was expecting Lou for this to be just a rah.
Well, you should have had this nice food and you like a therapist.
and it's fatherhood. You talked about fatherhood. It'd be different if you was talking about
You
business.
hit the nerve. Comedians want to talk to people because everybody, they won't even let us be serious.
But that go back to what I was saying. The stage is where I can release my pain to a way where you don't even know I'm crying.
Yeah.
So we're too busy laughing, but I'm crying.
You know what's scary about that, though, DC, bro? As your brother, what's scary about that is you shouldn't have to put all your pain into your art.
You don't think so?
You shouldn't have to.
I think
the reason why I say that, though, the reason.
Let me say this before we call it a night. So a lot of what DC was saying was real. One thing I had to make sure I do when I correct my kids when they was getting that heat, as he said, that heat put on them. I always let them know why. We always had a conversation before that heat got put on them. The heat. That's funny. Before that heat got put on them, we had to have a conversation. Why? This is why you better get spanking. Because of this and this and this and this. That was a must. They need to know. Now they already had an idea because they know what they did. But I need for them to say it. I need to hear from them. To know exactly why they was getting what they was getting. But one of the most important things he sit there and said was about being friends with your kid. No, I don't play that shit. I don't play that shit because I know the lines can get severely blurred when you do that stuff. Now, unfortunately, my ex tried to do that, and I told him, I said, you're not gonna spoil my son and make my son soft and spoil him and do him like what you did. And now you dealing with what you dealing with. We're not gonna do my son like that. So I had to constantly make sure I address that. One of the other things is, if you don't agree with what I'm doing at that time, then let it happen. And we could talk after it. Don't undercut me. That's one thing I made sure I didn't do, is try to, when she was correcting him, only time I ever stepped in is when I heard him talking back against smart with her. And that's when I stepped in. But if you dealing and everything's good, I'll let you handle it. I need that same respect and honor like I give you. Don't undercut me. Because when you do that, now he's going to play us against you. They already going to try to do that. Kids are already going to try to play you against the parent. They're going to see which one is the weaker link, and they're going to play that side. And they'll work it. Why? Because I did that shit. And I watched them try to do that shit. I watched that shit in school. I watch them right there at the parent-teacher conference. Right there on site when you actually had to be at the parent-teacher conference. And you didn't do it on the phone or online. You had to actually be there in attendance. I watch it happen many a times when we're doing that. God damn, boy, he working the shit out of these two. And you know, as a teacher, you can't really say anything. You know what I'm saying? But I remember one time I did say something. I said, "Ma'am, he's playing y'all. He's playing against y'all." And I see it. The daddy looked at me. He looked at the kid. He looked, well, I've been saying this. I've been saying this shit. I'm sick of this shit. I've been telling her ass that. So, okay, my man, I got you. I understand. Look, I had to talk to my wife about that, my ex-wife about that. I had to bring it to her attention. Can't do this. Don't do this. I had to do it. I mean, sound like y'all need to have a conversation outside of your son. Because if not, he's going to do it to the end. And then y'all are going to be going at odds. Why I know this? Because I did it with my ex. With both kids. With her daughter. With my son. With my daughter. It happened. So we had to, you have to address it as a father. That's your job to address it. She's not going to see it because she's still going to continue to try to be the friend, going to try to wear the white hat. And, you know, as the fathers, 90% of the time, we got to be the disciplinarians. 90% of the time, we got to be the bad guy. We got to wear the black hat. Another time I had to do was say, don't call me every time something goes wrong. Don't do that. Why every time and I got to be the one long distance discipline? Well, no, I'm not doing that. When you say something to him, it needs to be said and he needs to take it as that. And when he comes over, I'll reiterate and we'll reinforce what we talked about. If I punish him here, he needs to be punished over there. I could tell you many times where I told that, bring that game system to me. If you're going to punish him, bring it to me and he won't have it. So he won't have it in the house. Just like he didn't have it in my house. That's what I had to do. Me and my daughter's mother had to work the same system. Now, one time I hated when she did this, talking about, I'm not going to send them to you because she got in trouble. Well, no. Don't not send me my daughter. And she had to pay for her ticket, half on her ticket for Disney World because she didn't get to go because she sent it a week after we were supposed to go. And I told her, I said, well, look, I paid for the ticket. Let her go, and then we'll deal with it when she get back. We'll just extend the punishment. That's fine, but we'll let her slide on this one. Now, I don't want to send it that. I said, no, well, hold on now. We're not going to do that. And so I had to take her to court. And she had to pay. Because, you know, I had the plane ticket was already booked down there. She already paid for half of that anyway. But she had to pay for half on the Disney World trip because she messed up the arrangements. I paid for for tickets for the park and for the jump park passes, and we took the family took a bus down there, so she had to pay for that, half of that. But a chance, man, good to see you, big brother. Glad you was able to come over and stop by. Hopefully, brother, while you're here, you could do me a solid and hit that. Hopefully, you're able to hit that like button for me, brother. I appreciate it. I promise you I do. But those are some of the things that you have to deal with. Situations like that, you know, because when you deal with those things, it is what it is. those are just things you had to deal with. But those are things you have to address. And so what they were sharing right then and there, talk about the corporal punishment part, that's very important. Like I said, I stopped doing that when the kids were in 6th grade. I both kids. I told them you get too old to be doing this. You're getting too old to be getting spankings. I'm not going to do you doing. But please believe me, you're gonna be punished. You still gonna have a consequence for whatever actions you do. And so I know with my son, I made him go outside and, I don't know if y'all know anything about wall sits. He had to sit on the wall like he's in a chair. When he got in high school, when he got in trouble, he had to hold cement blocks. Now I gave him a pair of gloves, and he had a whole cement block between his legs and sit down like he's in a chair. And we do it, and I would count down, 30, 29, 28, and so on and so forth. And he would have to sit there. As soon as he messed up with it, we restart back over. And I would let him shoot his punishment. I said, you want these 100 push-ups? I said, you want to do these this and that? And he hated it. I told him, that's your consequence. I said, either that or I get your butt spanked. Which one you want? Which one do you want? And that's what it was. Chad said, brother, I hit that like button. Want to know, hey, were we going to connect that stream deck properly? I need to, Chad. I'm going to definitely make sure I get with you. I'll tell you this. I'm gonna make sure I hit you on IG. Let me see. Do me a favor. Put your IG in the chat for me so I can make sure I link up with you, and we can definitely talk on the back end so I can make sure I do it properly for sure, big brother. So shout out to this brother Chaz, man. He does great work, man. Does a lot of stuff in the background for a lot of people. Y'all don't even know. Y'all probably don't pay attention. Did a lot of great things for a couple content creators with their intro videos, man. Does great stuff, man. But he turned me on to some the stream deck. Now I got the stream deck and I upload some sound. That's one of the sounds you hear me when I tell you I hit that goddamn like button. So he turned me on to this, but I'm just scratching the surface of what it can do. I promise you. And I got at the time it was the biggest one. I still think it is the biggest one, and I love it. But I'm like I said, I'm just scratching the surface. So brother Chaz was kind of getting me hip to it, turn me on to some of the things that it does. But he's gonna get me all the way right. As your brother said, it's gonna take about 5 minutes. He's gonna get me right. I promise you. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely want to get with you, and we could meet through StreamYard and do it. I don't know what your schedule's like Thursday or Friday. Let me know, man. And like I said, we're gonna definitely link up so we can do it. Do a video thing through StreamYard. We're gonna utilize all the technology, and we can definitely talk. And you can talk me through this bullshit. We're gonna figure it out. But I appreciate it. But yeah, for sure. I think I follow you on IG, but I don't know for sure. But if you can, Chaz, definitely put your IG in the comments so I could definitely make sure I click on it and follow you, big brother. But with that being said, man, brother Chaz, I appreciate you being here for sure. But as far as this, I definitely understand it, man, because it's something that you kind of transition. And when I heard some people talk about it, and I tell you, one of my mentors, who's the one really challenged me on about doing it, as far as how it affects the kids. All right, I got you, big brother. I appreciate it. As far as it, how it mentally affects kids, man, I said, man, that makes sense. It makes sense to do those things and not do it that way because it affects it fast on them, emotionally and mentally. So that's when I stopped. That's when I started, like I said, taking it to like I said, my daughter, man, her punishment was like a month. And I always say, hey, look, you ready to get spanked or you ready to get this money? Which one you want? I don't want no spanking. I agree with you. I don't want spanking, but you still have a consequence. And so this is your consequence. It is what it is. But guys, with that being said, man, look, let me say this. Sunday was Father's Day. I'm going to say it again, like I've been saying before. Happy Father's Day to every man out there, regardless you a deadbeat or not. Hopefully for some of you deadbeat, sorry motherfuckers who ain't doing their business as fathers, hopefully this touches your heart and makes you recalibrate, rethink, be a better man, and be the best father you can. Whatever version that is, be the best version of that. It is also Men's Mental Health Month. Today's the 18th. We got 13 more days. So with that being said, I want every last one of you fellas, man, who are going through some stuff, who are dealing with the stuff, whether it may be a woman, it may be your wife, your girlfriend, it may be your kids, it may be your job, it may be just the daily routines of rough life just wearing on you. Guys, do me a solid. Get your mind right, man. Take care of your mental, because it's the most important thing that you can really take care of, man. Everything else is secondary. If your mind ain't right, nothing else in your life gonna be right. So let me say this before, like I go out on every time. But before I do that, let me share this, because Big Brother Ant, he comes through with a $10. He didn't have to, he chose to. And I appreciate the blessings. Thank you for Big Brother Ant. He says, hell no. I wish you would. I ain't doing anything with a brick when we getting back in the house. We're going to see who's going to get this big piece of chicken. Big 811, I'm always going to get that goddamn big piece of chicken. I don't give a shit what are you talking about. But with that being said, let me say this. Fellas, do what you got to do to protect yourself at all times. Whether you got to get on somebody's couch or somebody's Zoom meet, get your mental right. Very important. Even if you don't believe in therapy, whether you got to get around a group of fellas that you can confide in, that you can have real, serious, deep conversations, then do that. If you go to spiritual right and you get spiritual advisement, do that. If you, whatever you feel like you need to do to get your mind right, do it. Whether you feel like working out, have some quiet time to yourself, getting into your word, whatever you need to do, do it. I'm not a man who believes in using drugs and alcohol to relieve your pain. I will never advise you to do it. You will never hear me say that. Don't do that. Don't go that route, because I don't think that's what's going to really help you. Those vices are not going to help you. They might, matter of fact, let me tell you, they might hurt you more than they help you. But if that means you need to get with a group of fellas to have real deep conversation, or that one friend, you don't have to get with a group. It could be one individual. You could confide in, you could tell and unleash and tell what you need to talk about. Have that conversation about what you need to do. It. Do it. It's very important. Not only that, make sure you go out here and get your full physical. Make sure your A1Cs in order. Make sure your blood work right. Take care of yourself. We only get one shot on this damn planet. We only get one shot on. You get one goddamn shot. Ain't no hitting the reset button. Ain't no redo. You get one shot. Make the best of it. Make sure you're healthy, mentally, physically, and emotionally healthy. Fellas, you got to do this. And a man of a certain age like me, I turned big 50 on Sunday. Sunday's my birthday, and I turned 50 years old. I'm a half a century. I've seen a lot of sunshines and sunsets and sunrises. I promise you I have. And I want to see many more. But in order to do it, I got to take care of myself and my health, and as far as my mental too. So guys of my age, like I said, if you're at risk, if you're high risk, and you got it in your family of colon cancer or prostate cancer, make sure you go get your prostate checked and your colonoscopy. Now, for those guys who are not a high risk, it doesn't have a history of it. Can you do about it through your blood work? Yes, you can. But one way for sure that they can find out these certain things, getting a colonoscopy. And a lot of these things, man, they could be, even if you get it detected early, if you find out early as possible, you got a chance. You have a chance. We got family members. My wife has a father who passed of prostate cancer, colon cancer. My great grandfather did it. My dad had a scare. So, fellas, take care of yourself, man. It's very important. Take care of yourself. Like I said, we only get one shot at this thing, so make the best of it. Live every part of your life like it's your last. Enjoy these small achievements as far as life, as far as relationship, as far as your kids. Take advantage of the time that you have on this earth by making sure you spending time with your loved ones. Let them know and make sure they know that you love them, that you care about you, that you are concerned about, and that you want to be a part of their lives. And if for those who are having rocky relationships, make sure you find a way to make that right. Whether you got to be the bigger man and take the knee on this one and take the back row. I mean, not that back row, but take a step back and humble yourself just to make it right. Because at the end of the day, they know what they did wrong. Even if it's not on you, it's on them. They know what they did wrong. They're going to know. And guess what? The Lord will humble them and they will see the light. It may not be when you want them to, but it's going to always be on right time. So make sure, fellas, y'all do what y'all got to do. As men, we know the certain sacrifices that we have to make. Good, bad, and different. We understand this. But be the best version of yourself. Be the best man you can be for yourself. Be the best father you can be for your kids. Be the best significant other for your spouse, your wife, your lady, or whatever title you give her. Be the best version of that. And there are going to be times when you're not going to be always successful in whatever you do. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with making mistakes. As long as you learn from them, you correct them, and you make the proper adjustments, you're good. But with that being said, I will catch you black men, you black sisters, my white brothers, my white sisters, my Mexican, my Asian, my international brothers and sisters, all of you. I'll catch you on the next one. Right on.